I'm going to read something that new for every, do we have many people on Zoom or anything like that?
We
Even?
do.
Yeah, we have.
We have a couple people joining. We have Laura Stone joining from
Okay.
Trans.
Okay, so I will read this because, you know, it's going to be a new experience for all of us, but we, our meetings were getting longer and longer. And so we want to be more effective and efficient. So we've made a change to the public comment portion of the meeting. So those wishing to address the select board during meeting may do so during the public comment portion of the meeting. And we're going to limit the comments to 3 minutes per speaker. And all speakers will be heard before people are given a second opportunity to speak. And once the public comment portion of the meeting is over, the public will be able to speak if the chair determines their input is needed during another portion of the meeting. For participants on Zoom, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Please only use the Zoom chat for technical issues such as room audio. You can't raise your hand or things of that nature. Please don't comment or question in the chat as it is distracting for all. The intent of this new policy is not to stifle community input, but rather to allow the select board to be more effective and efficient in our work. People are always welcome to email the members of the select board at any time with feedback or questions. Our email addresses are on the town's website and on the notice on the sign-in table. Thank you very much. So we will now start with public comment. And if there's any public comment for people to be heard.
How ironic.
Right.
Okay, so we'll move on then. The really the interesting presentation discussion of the evening is for the Jericho Culvert bundle from AOT's project. And it's running, you know, there's a bunch of bridges in Essex as well as a culvert issue in Jericho.
Hey, Laura, can you hear us okay?
Yep, I can hear you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Great, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn my whole mind here.
Okay, and can everybody see this?
You can.
Awesome. Okay, so welcome. This is a public informational meeting for the Essex-Jericho Culvert Bundle. I'm Laura Stone. I'm the V-Trans Scoping Project Manager. I also have Mahendra Thiliar here with me tonight. He's going to be the Design Project Manager with V-Trans. And really, our purpose of the meeting tonight, we want to provide an understanding of our approach to the project, talk to you about the current efforts and the anticipated schedule, so when you can expect to see this in construction, and really provide an opportunity for you to ask questions and voice concerns about the project. I'm really going to focus tonight on the Jericho structure, but I do have several slides about the Essex structures as well. I'm sure members of the public drive through Five Corners every now and then, and will be affected traffic-wise. So here's just a quick timeline of our V-Trans project development process. So a project's been funded and we're currently in this stage called project definition. And this slide is really just to show that we're at a really, really early stage of the project development process. So this is when we're identifying environmental and cultural resources, the constraints surrounding the project. We evaluate alternatives at each of the bridge sites. We like to have this public participation piece to make sure that we're considering everything that needs to be considered in the project. And really, we want to build consensus towards our selected alternative. So after project definition, after tonight, we're going to consider the project to be defined. That's when we're really going into the project design, quantifying the areas of impact, doing the permitting process, the right-of-way process. After project design, a contract will be awarded and the project will move into construction. So here's a location map of the 4 culverts. So you can see the one in Jericho all the way to the right of the screen. Let's see if I can get a pointer. Sometimes it comes out funny on Zoom, but the Jericho culvert is located just over the Essex-Jericho town line. It is on Vermont Route 15 and it's Bridge 6A. We also have these other 3 culverts here in Essex, Bridge 11 on 2A, Bridge 2 on Vermont 15, and Bridge 17A on Vermont Route 289. So to start, so this is the Jericho Bridge 6A bridge. Again, here's a location map. And this is probably a better view to see exactly where the culvert is, but it is located at this blue arrow right here, just to the east of Mountain View Road. There isn't a stream that runs through this culvert. It's dry most of the time, unless there's, rain runoff. So you probably don't even know that there's a culvert under the road there. So here's a picture looking west. The road is classified as a principal arterial. The existing culvert is a 6-foot asphalt coated corrugated galvanized multi-plate pipe. It's owned by the state of Vermont, so there's no town funds involved in the project. It's 80% federally funded, 20% state funded, and it was constructed in an unknown year. Hold on, my button's not working. There we go. Okay, here's a picture looking east over the culvert. There are aerial utilities that you can see in the picture here. There's Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and Green Mountain Power. There are underground utilities. So there's the Jericho Village Water System, and there's also Vermont Gas Systems has a pipe that goes through the project area. All utilities run parallel to Vermont Route 15 on the north side of the roadway. So the existing site conditions, the culvert's in poor condition. There's heavy rust scaling and pitting, which has led to small perforations along the haunches in the first half of the barrel of the culvert. So that just means there's a lot of holes in this metal culvert. Moderate distortion throughout the pipe has allowed for small gaps along the connected joints, leading to minor piping. So really what that's saying is there's holes and gaps in this metal culvert, and so the fill that's surrounding on the outside of the culvert is we're losing some material from around the outside. The invert is covered with gravel and is in poor condition. So the invert is the very bottom of the pipe. So the existing culvert meets the VTrans hydraulic standards and meets bank full width. So this is a 6-foot diameter culvert, and so what's actually needed here is closer to a 2-foot to 4-foot opening. So it is hydraulically adequate. And Vermont Route 15 does have substandard shoulder widths through the project area. So here's a picture of the culvert. Again, it does have a culvert rating of 4. It's in poor condition. You can see there's quite a bit of rust and deterioration in the bottom of this culvert. Here's a picture looking upstream. Again, there's no stream that runs through this. It's just a dry culvert. There's a picture looking downstream. There's a picture of the inlet, and sorry if there's a lag. I know Zoom sometimes has a lag when I switch slides. And a picture of the outlet. Again, the culvert barrel, this is facing upstream. There's heavy corrosion along the eastern wall near the upstream side. And existing resources. So there are wetland complexes mapped on the outlet end. So that's on the south side of Vermont Route 15. The culvert is not considered historic. There are archaeologically sensitive areas in the project area. There is one area of archaeological sensitivity to the south, which is located on an outwash plain above the floodplain of the Winooski River. And wildlife habitat. None of the wildlife habitat components were identified as priority or highest priority within the study area. So here's the existing conditions layout. This is like if your bird's eye view, your bird flying above the road looking down. So this gray box right here, this gray rectangle, that is the existing culvert. This tan brown section, that's the existing roadways. Also to point out, there's this red line here, that's the state-owned right-of-way. I guess interesting to point out that on the north side, the existing culvert is outside of the existing right-of-way, so there are likely going to be rights need to be acquired for this project. And then the water and gas line are denoted by this line that says W and this line that says G. I guess also on the south side of the culvert here, this line with the triangles is the wetlands. So there are going to likely be some minor wetland impacts. And then this line that says arch is the archaeologically sensitive area. So here's just the profile of the culvert. It is interesting. It's about an 8% slope at leading up to the culvert and out of the culvert, and then it does flatten out a bit within the culvert to about a 3% slope, which is why we're seeing some gravel sedimentation throughout that pipe. So design criteria and considerations, there is a high volume of traffic here. We have 10,482 vehicles per day, a design hourly volume. So the design hourly volume is the amount of traffic you would expect to see in your peak hour of traffic. So there's a design hourly volume of 1,200 vehicles per hour and a percent trucks of 8.7. So the alternatives we considered for this pipe, we looked at a no action alternative. It's in poor condition, so obviously we need to do something here. We looked at two different culvert rehabilitation options, either a pipeliner, which is when you take a culvert that's a smaller diameter than the existing, you put it into the existing and then grout in between the two. And we would expect about a 50-year design life out of a pipeliner. We also looked at a spray-on liner, which is just it's a thinner liner option. And we expect about 30 years out of a spray-on liner. And then we did look at a culvert replacement, which would be a new 3-foot diameter corrugated pipe. It would meet the V-Trans hydraulic standards and have a design life of 75 years. Ultimately, we selected to go with a culvert liner. It's really, this is hydraulically adequate. It's really a good option for this location. And the best part is we don't have to relocate the water line, the gas line, and there's really minimal impacts to traffic with these liners. Again, the shoulders are slightly substandard through the Vermont 15 corridor, and we would expect a design life of about 50 years out of a liner. So, recommended alternative here, rehabilitate the existing culvert with a round pipe slip liner while maintaining traffic on the existing culvert. Again, we're going to call for a minimum 4-foot liner. Minimum hydraulic standards are met. We are going to extend the life of this structure an additional 50 years. And I guess it is important to note here that we might have possible temporary lane or shoulder closures for mobilizing construction equipment and managing traffic. You know, with almost 11,000 cars a day here, we'd really want to limit those lane closures to like outside of the peak traffic hours. So that's it for the Jericho 6A culvert. I guess I'll take a pause there and ask if anybody has questions about this structure. Guess I'm not hearing any, so I'll keep going. So next I'll talk about Bridge 2 over the Indian River in Essex town. This one's going to have the most traffic impacts. It is located on Vermont 15 in Essex. Here's an aerial view of the culvert. This is also on the national highway system.
Okay.
It's a principal arterial.
Okay, Laura.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I had accidentally muted us on this end.
Yep.
We do have a couple questions, coming from the select board. Do you mind addressing those before we move on?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was wondering, just very briefly, what the archaeological element was that was running along that line.
Honestly, I'd have to go back and look at the archaeological report.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that was mostly curious, honestly. And then when you began talking originally, I thought we were talking about replacing the whole culvert, which would be a huge deal. And then when you got to the options and you said that it was just the lining, is there going to be any traffic interruption or almost nothing?
Yeah, like I said, like lane closures for mobilizing equipment, they're gonna have to, park trucks on the road to kind of get down to the inlet or the outlet ends. But other than, lane closures, we'd have flaggers. They'd be intermittent. It wouldn't be throughout the entire construction season. So really minimal impacts traffic, which is
Okay,
nice.
thank you.
Yep. In terms of the arc, it is located pretty far away from the culvert, so we're likely not going to have any impacts to the archaeological sensitivity. A lot of times with like farmlands and just low-lying plains like that, they just designate them archaeologically sensitive. Sometimes there might be stuff there, sometimes there's nothing there.
Hey, John, can you close that?
Oh, yeah.
Anything else for Bridge 6?
Oh, it's just an engine, you mentioned wildlife, that, there really isn't any wildlife impacts in the area. But do you think wildlife uses the culvert as a way of crossing under the road? Just curious.
Yeah, I don't know here. It's kind of an interesting location. I'll go back to the aerial map here. But there's the road right next to it, and then there's a house right here. There must be some wildlife running through there. But without setting up wildlife cameras or anything like that, it's hard to say.
No, just be curious to see
Yeah.
if anybody uses it for little critters. Thank you.
Anything else on Bridge 6A?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, we have a raised hand from, someone else, joining us remotely. Susan, do you have a question?
I do. So if you mentioned that the shoulders are substandard in this area, and if we're going to be in there doing all this work, is there any way to also kind of sneak in some way to modestly improve the shoulders while you're there?
Not with a liner project, unfortunately. If we were replacing it, we would widen the shoulders through the project, but it would really only be about 100 feet of improvement. It's a bridge project and we keep limits pretty tight to the bridge. But with a liner, there's not much opportunity there for widening.
Other
Anything?
questions?
No?
Nope.
You can continue, Laura, as needed.
Okay, I'll continue with Bridge 2. So again, we have aerial utilities and underground utilities at Bridge 2. This culvert's a box culvert. It's also rated as a 4 in poor condition. You can see there's timber bracing throughout this structure to kind of keep it stabilized. So it is in quite bad condition. Really similar traffic volumes here, a little bit higher than on the Jericho side. So our selected alternative for Bridge 2, and I cut out some of the slides for the Essex structures just to keep my time here to a minimum. But our selected alternative here is a culvert replacement with a new buried structure. So this is showing just a new buried structure where the existing goes. It is going to be a 12-foot span by 8-foot rise. approximately 75-foot long precast concrete structure with a 75-year design life. So this one's going to have a lot of traffic impacts. What we looked at was an offsite detour, phased construction, and a temporary bridge. Ultimately, what we decided to do, and I see there's the road closure sign here. We are going to do a hybrid option that includes a possible really short-term road closure. We're talking maybe 2 days, 3 days tops. The detour is chosen and signed by the state. And the shortest detour route is 5.6 miles around. There's really a large network of roads here. And so, I mean, I'm sure cars will use other detours as well. We are going to be phasing traffic as well. So 2 phases with 2-lane or 1-lane alternating traffic with a traffic signal. So phase construction is when we shift traffic. So traffic would be on this orange section here. We shift traffic to one side of the structure while we replace the other half of the structure. And then we shift traffic onto that new section while we construct the rest of it. So again, replace the existing culvert with a new 3-sided or 4-sided precast concrete box. Traffic will be maintained via phased construction and/or an offsite detour, or a combination of the two in order to keep the corridor partially open during construction, to be determined in design. Impacts to utilities, environmental resources, and cultural resources will be minimized by not constructing a temporary bridge. And this will have a 75-year design life. Questions and comments related to Bridge 2?
Not for me.
No, it's interesting.
Not seeing any hands raised. Feel free to continue, Laura.
Okay, so Essex Route 2A, Bridge 11. This one's going to be even faster. Here's the location map. This culvert does go under 2A, the railroad, and Gents Road. The roadway is classified as a minor arterial. It's a 6-foot by 6-foot box constructed in 1934. This is also in poor condition, but the poor condition is really localized at the bottom of the box where the walls meet the floor of the box. And there is a failed wing wall. Again, there's some sediment loss here. This stick is going through the structure 3 feet into the backfill.
Looks like a cigarette.
Yeah, it does. So this is
For
just
scale, that might have not been what you were trying to go for.
So this is just the section under Vermont Route 2A, and it's the only section of the structure that we're going to be touching. There's actually under the railroad and under the town road, it transitions into a totally different structure type. Again, really similar traffic volumes here. And the scope of work here is a culvert rehabilitation. We're going to just do some concrete repair and slope work to fix that failed wing wall. It does meet the minimum bankable width conditions. It's the least costly option, shortest construction duration, minimal impacts to traffic, and we expect to get about a 30-year design life. So again, similarly to the Jericho culvert, there will be temporary lane or shoulder closures as needed in order to mobilize and demobilize construction equipment. Any questions about Bridge 11?
Any questions from the gallery?
Not for this bridge,
Nope.
Nope.
And similarly, On Vermont 289, Bridge 17A. There's an aerial view of the culvert. This is also classified as a principal arterial. The existing bridge is a 7-foot corrugated galvanized metal plate pipe constructed in 1993. Really young structure. The culvert's rated a 5. It's really just the invert or the bottom of the culvert that's rusted out. The rest of the culvert looks beautiful. There is approximately 60 feet of fill over this culvert, which is 550 feet long. It's a really long structure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, on 289, the traffic is a lot less. We're looking at just over 5,000 vehicles per day and a design hourly volume of 660. And our selected alternative for this structure is a culvert liner, either an invert or a slip liner. This also meets the minimum bankable width standards, and with either an invert is just a repair of the bottom versus a liner, which repairs the whole circumference of the pipe. And we'd expect about a 50-year design life out of that. Similar to the other rehabilitations, there's going to be possible temporary lane or shoulder closures for mobilizing construction equipment, but really minimal impacts from this project as well. And that's all I have to say about Bridge 17A. Any questions there?
No, just a question over the total package. Will you be doing these all at once, or are you going to prioritize and do them individually?
Yeah, so these are likely all going to be bundled for construction. So it's going to be one contractor that's going to be awarded all 4 structures. And so they would likely do one at a time.
Okay.
And Laura, what's the schedule? That next slide just answered my
Culvert
question. There we go.
I had a feeling.
Ah,
So construction start right now. We have this in our budget for the summer of 2026. It's likely that, the rehabilitations will be the first ones to be constructed. And because it's 4 structures, likely a multi-year project, it'll probably take about 2 construction seasons. There are these public websites that the town has. This presentation will be up on these websites. Also, any future plan submissions like conceptual plans, preliminary plans, final plans, they'll all be up on this website, which is a public facing site that anybody can go to so they can track the life of the project. And that's all I have.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions or comments?
any comments from folks in attendance?
No, it was very useful.
Yeah. Laura, thank you for your time and consideration. So we'll have Bridge 15 here in Jericho built the summer before this.
Or at least started.
Or
Nice.
at least started.
Great. Well, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Next on the agenda is Mills-Riverside Park Dog Enforcement, and it's Chris Tardy. Hello.
Quick, I sent you guys a note, either you weren't on it, but.
I got it, copy of it though.
You got a copy?
Yep,
Great.
thank you.
Chris, could you just state your name on the record?
Chris Hardy, I'm the Mills-Riverside.
Great, thank you.
So we're having a dog problem.
What?
Yeah, just like, most of Vermont, right? So
Yeah.
COVID, brought a lot of new dog owners to Vermont, Jericho included. The park has seen a huge increase, 30%. I think I told you guys for 33% for that, but we go to 25,000 dog bags a year that we provide
25,000 a year?
a year.
Wow.
And then that, that's the ones we provide. A lot of people, myself included, spray my own because I can. So, they're, when we go through the, we take the trash out and stuff, and there's a lot of other dog bags, so. Rough guesstimate, probably 30,000-40,000
Wow.
in that ballpark range. So a lot of dog use. We're having some trouble with some repeat offenders. We used to just kind of yell at them and name and shame, and that worked. Naming and shaming is not really working anymore. Prior to now, Ed was the ACO for Jericho. He had no interest in being involved in the park. Was very clearly he wanted nothing to do with the park, and that, if we had dog problems, we would call the police. The police would not respond. So here we are. We've talked to both of the new ACOs. Olivia for Jericho, and then Jennifer's not new, but Sylvie for Underhill. Libby and another of our members, Jim Spalding, are at Underhill today with Jen and Sylvie talking to them about the same thing. So basically what we're looking for from you guys is when we're not looking for any, the ACOs to patrol the park, but we do need somebody to call when there's dog fights, when we're dealing with repeat offenders. And we just need some enforcement muscle behind it, right? We aren't set up to administer notices, fines, that sort of thing. I know we're kind of in a weird bucket where we're shared by both towns. And I've heard that we're kind of a municipality classification. I'm not really sure what we're classified as.
But you are classified as a municipal, that's what one of the questions was, yeah, I mean, because.
I don't have many levers. I can say, I can call the cops, they're not gonna come.
Right.
So my levers left are restrict dog access. And, that's pretty much it. And you gotta get stricter on it. And we're a unique park. I'd love to not do that. We're obviously getting a lot of use. I think it is very beneficial to the public to have that. And I don't think we have a lot of. I think once we start cracking down, the board consensus is once we start cracking down, it will stop pretty quickly. We don't think there's a large group of people that are the problems. We think it's just a core group of people that it becomes a monkey see, monkey do. They see, people walking their dog off leash and go, oh, guess we don't have to do it. Versus if we start cracking down on a few of it, start putting signs up, start a multi-pronged approach of, hey, there's a new sheriff in town, Ed's not here anymore. The new dog warden will give you a ticket.
Yeah, because I was, since you are a municipality, that was gonna be my first line of questioning is, can't you write your own ordinances to, crack down on them and then use, granted, we have animal control officers, but they also could be contracted to work for you too, separately with your own ordinances. But but you're right. There's some of these weird municipalities like you and the library that may not be full municipalities in the structures, but I don't know whether you could write your own, because that certainly would be your best bet is if you could write your own ordinance with your own penalties.
But are you asking for an ordinance or are you asking for us to say, yes, you can use animal control?
I was just giving him a try more.
Yeah.
The problem is we're not set up to do that. We could be, right? We talked about as a board of what does our own ordinance look like and what does hiring somebody look like. But given the difficulty that you guys had finding an ACO. And then we'd have to go up with an ordinance that doesn't fight with both towns. That's kind of where I'm at.
So how would you see it happening? So give me an example issue that you've seen that you would then walk me through how you would envision it. So start with the incident that you saw and then what you would do if we say yes or whatever.
So at the core, right? So when I first joined the park, it was because there was a dog fight that I was witness to. I called him. It was like, yeah, not my problem. Talk to Libby. So I called Libby. Just what do you want me to do? I'm not gonna get in between two dogs, I call the state police.
This is while the fight's going on, or, okay,
Wow.
But, so the girl left with her dog. I don't know what became of it, but I've seen her in the park since.
And that was the dog,
With the
the
dog,
instigator.
with, yes, so in my view of the world, of how this would work, you know, those Riverside board is we'd be able to call Olivia or Jen. They'd come down, they'd write the person a ticket, they'd get their information, say, you are not coming back to the park with this dog. Right, they have the ability to do that, that's in their, you know.
They have the power to
They
do
have
that
the
or
power to
whatever,
do
they,
that. Right.
in the Jericho town ordinance.
And, yeah, the entire off-leash dog area is all there.
Mhm.
So.
so this incident was in the off-leash area or was in the? Oh,
So that's the most extreme case, right, like dealing with dog fight, like,
okay, I guess I was envisioning,
That's what I was
I was
picturing.
envisioning in the leashed area, they're off-leash and they fight, but you're talking in the,
yeah.
in the area where they're allowed to be.
If there's a fighting dog, I don't want that dog back.
Right.
For the leash thing, it's kind of weird, right, because the state of Vermont has in their ordinance, you guys have in your ordinance, under housing, that they
We do,
running at large.
we do not have
You
a,
guys have a running at large. But. we
What does
don't-
that mean?
I don't
What does
know
that
what that
mean?
means.
Exactly, what does it mean? Technically, it means the dog's out of control, but how do you prove that?
Oh, that's the rule. Your dog has to be under control.
Yeah.
Or it's running.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's.
Or it
Leash
shows
or
up at the
voice
Jericho
command.
Center-
it's control. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it shows up at the Jericho Center store, you know, and they live 3 houses away or something like that.
so currently, in the current scenario, you have a person or a couple of people who have dogs that routinely cause fights at the off-leash area, and you don't really have an ability to say you can't bring the dog back.
Right.
Have you tried that?
Yeah.
Damn.
Call it some choice words.
How-
So I mean, that's the most extreme case, right? And you've got people that,
So give me the least extreme case that you would call her for.
so like, we have people that routinely will not leash their dogs in the leash area.
Okay.
Their dog jumps on somebody, runs up to people, you know, my wife carrying my 2-month-old at the time, baby get jumped on.
Mhm.
You know, I'm there to measure stuff for culvert replacements that we're doing. So, you know, kind of not a good situation to be in, right? So we would, you know, tell them like, hey, we see you here again violating the leash rule, we're calling the animal control, we're gonna tell them we've already spoken to you. They're gonna come here and get it.
Is that money?
I think
Do
the
I-
the first one is not, it's just a official.
Statement that you've
Yeah.
broken the rule.
Get their information. And we're hoping that's what it is, right? We're hoping that they get that, like. People see the ACO come in, they see them get some red piece of paper with a, you know, with a big warning and what stern talking to, and we're hoping that just ends it right there, right? When people see it, they go, "Ooh," you know,
The off leash thing to me, and I live literally 3 doors down from the park, and I don't take my dog there anymore. We used to, but it's just crazy. The off leash thing is actually, to my mind, a bigger problem. That not a bigger problem, but more of a worse human violation. Like you're just saying the rules don't apply to me. At least in the off leash area, maybe something happened with your dog and they got spooked or something, and then a fight broke out, and that may not be like your dog's violent, but they just got spooked or someone, whatever. But I used to get furious when I would see people walking their dogs off the leash in that first section. Like that feels to me like the bigger.
my dog has been pinned down while it's on leash, in the on leash area, and I've had to pull out pepper spray.
Right,
And be like, get your dog under control.
right,
So I don't bring my dog there
Yeah,
anymore either, and I'm on the board,
right.
right? So, you know, both animal control officers don't bring their dogs there.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah,
if I'm in the position where I can do something about it and I'm not doing it, like. You know, imagine a good chunk of
right.
the public feels.
It's like not worth the effort, right?
So how does, I don't know much about the ACO, I'll be honest with you. So
Yeah.
how does it work? Like, do we pay her
Yeah, so
A year, by the
Yeah.
year, by the call,
they
or
they get a monthly stipend.
Okay.
And then they get a specific amount for time spent engaging with circumstances surrounding animal control issues. If they have to board an animal or a dog specifically, there's an additional fee for boarding. You know, they basically track their time and they have an hourly rate for that time on top of the stipend. I did a little outreach to town attorney today, just getting to Catherine's point, because we're technically two independent municipalities. I think there's there should be some consideration around liability. So the thing that wasn't clear when we were first contacted is if the ACOs had been spoken with. I wasn't sure until I reached out to them and say, hey, do you know that there's conversation about you being involved in providing service at the JUPD or for the JUPD, and they had. Jennifer said that you'd been to the meeting last night. So to Catherine's point, I think that's really where the formality needs to be considered. So if you want to apply existing ordinance within the town in that area, that's fine. It would be up to the select board to take on that, I guess, additional responsibility. And then in terms of paying animal control officers for their time, there would assumedly be additional expense. And the thing that concerned me, honestly, is from a liability perspective, type of thing you're talking about intervention wise that's most severe is like dog fights. That's when ACOs get bitten.
Right.
But
So
I'm having a hard time feasibly recognizing that, depending on where she lives, I guess.
Right,
But like
it's over
by the
in-
time she
it's over in
gets there,
15
the
seconds.
fight's over,
Right,
you
that
know,
was my
so,
thought too.
yeah.
But wait, what do you do at the school today? Or, I mean, look, right next door to the school, what if there's a dog fight there?
Well, what do we do now?
Same
I don't know,
thing.
what do they-
But like, she's not gonna get there. in
No, I think
time.
Eric's point is that like, because my dog's been in fights at the park, he was attacked. But it's over, you jump on it and it's over in 20 seconds, like, but and I would imagine.
If most people carry pepper spray, it'll be over quick.
But
It's
the
more
part-
of the getting the person to knock.
But there's a person that do they run like, I would like
I'd be
beeline from my
gone,
car.
yeah, it'd be like, well, it'll probably be 20 minutes before she gets
If we get the
here.
license plate, the state police will work.
Okay.
And we've done that before.
But I think more importantly, the part that was really.
Please state your name for the,
John Pratt for the, JUPD.
thank you, because we want to make sure you're
The minutes.
recognized in the minutes.
So if there has been dog bites, dogs that fight dogs, and potentially a dog that bit a person. In those situations, you need to have the officer, the person come and write up. And so those are really the predominant things that we would be looking for, not that your dog's running off leash or your dog's kind of running out of control. It's these real critical situations that we need support with.
That doesn't feel that doesn't feel like different to me, right? It shouldn't matter if you get bit and you're on the park or you're not on the park, right?
That's what I mean, whether
Right.
at the park or not. that's
Right,
why-
so I'm assuming Ed would have come if someone got bit in the park.
He would not.
He would not. He said
No.
we
If a
were-
person got bit, he
He
wouldn't.
said we are a private municipality and he didn't want to do
He
it.
didn't want to do anything with it, no.
And do we know if that's true or if Ed was just ducking it?
Well,
Or like, what's
see,
the
this-
actual jurisdiction of the ACO?
Well,
Yeah.
so that's again, getting back to the point about liability and the independence of the municipalities, what it would require is some kind of intermunicipal agreement. So between the town and between the Jericho Underhill Park District. And again, my first question is, so most of the time, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, most of the time that type of intervention would be required would be the high traffic times that people walk their dogs early in the morning, in the evening after work, and on weekends. And so that's a significant, I mean, theoretically, dog warden, animal control officer are on duty, 24/7, 365. And now that Olivia and Jennifer have this relationship, they can sort of rely on one another if one of them's going to be away and that sort of thing. But it's I think a different kind of demand. It's an area where there's already known, typical animal control is super random. Like a dog gets,
Right.
like yesterday, dogs found up in the center off leash, or you have a dog, you have a animal on animal incident. But those are very, very rare. My feeling or my understanding is that this would probably require at least as much energy as they expend on all the other issues happening in town on an annual basis. Yeah, so
We don't know that, but we don't think so, right? We're the worst offenders are the old people that have lived here forever.
mhm.
I'm gonna be honest with you, that are our worst offenders.
Oh,
Chris, how old are you
My
talking?
partner,
Like
I walk a dog
35, 40?
Retirees that walk every day, and they know ed, they know the rules. They know how to use the rules against us. All but one of them, I think, lives in town. One of the two. So they know. We're hoping that just the signage and, just letting people know that, hey, that's not here anymore. You have 2 ACOs. If you break the leash rule, like, we're gonna have signs that say, hey, if we catch you and we talk to you a couple times, you're gonna get a visit from the ACO.
yeah, that's a kind of an interesting thinking because you are a municipality, but that's how you function. That's the governance, but that has nothing to do necessarily with the land mass underneath it, which is the town of Jericho.
Right.
Yeah, I think the question to be answered is to the select board. Do we have our animal control officers deployed in the role they currently hold within our municipality, in their municipality by virtue of agreement? Given the fact that they both expressed interest and willingness to function in that role, or you have your own ordinance and you hire them independently to provide similar services, and then you contract with them, come up with whatever
We brought them in.
terms and agreement that you'd like,
We
so.
brought them in to see if they would even be interested, or if we have to go out and talk.
Yeah.
And they said they were interested.
They said they would. The other thing though is we did write up our own ordinance. We came up with it based on discussions with, the VLCT. It would require some attorney work with it, and then we'd have to, pay, and, someone to patrol or be there on call or whatever. We don't have payroll. So now we'd have to hire an accountant. What it's all gonna come down to is, we're gonna ask you for the money.
That's right.
Yeah, so,
Because
I have two things. One, we're 15 minutes into this conversation.
Okay.
This is a 15-minute conversation where this is our new thing for us, like trying to set marks and hit them. It sounds like that the question is, to me, it sounds like the question is, will the select board bless our ACO responding to Mills-Riverside Park, and will we pay that cost?
yeah, I think what we need is an MOU between because, if Underhill goes where, it's another one of those 62-38 kind of.
So all we're asking is for you guys to think about it, let us know.
give us a year. Well, let's come back in a year and see what it looks like. I mean, if it's really out of control, we'll have to hire our own.
Yeah, what I was gonna think, if we were gonna make some sort of decision tonight, if, I don't know if the other two are ready, I would do way less than a year.
Oh.
I'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
let's try it for 3 months, and then you come back and say, we've called you 18 times, and then we
Oh.
can, something like that, and then we.
Yeah.
And then we just,
Yeah.
it's worked, it hasn't worked, whatever, right?
Give us June, July.
I would personally be okay with something like that.
Well, that's true.
I get
This
less,
is the-
I probably don't worry about the statutes and the legal part as much as I should, but so I don't know what to do
It's
about that
tough
piece.
stuff,
But it's boring.
we did look at it.
So
It's
boring.
not an attorney. It's-
Right, and
But you're right, it requires-
I think it would be silly for you guys to get an attorney, hire an accountant, like all this stuff, when you just need someone to call, you have someone to call, and it's just a matter of us paying that person. And I think the next 3 months, probably spring coming in, is probably we'll tell the tale.
That would get us to what, June, gets us to the first day of summer.
April,
right?
May, no, it gets us through, like April, May, if we start April 1st, like April, May, June, would be July 1.
Yeah.
Would be the end of 3 months, and that'll give us a good sense of how it's playing out.
April's a little, so we've gotta get signs done.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or at least May, June and July or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
May
because
1st,
that
May,
way-
June, July.
That's
It's
correct.
the-
Month of April to get it all pulled together and
Right.
front porch forum and.
Yeah, that's our plan, right? We're gonna blast signage out. It's gonna be, we're gonna have signage, all the avenues, Facebook, Works Forum, next door.
It also gives us time to find out what Underhill's doing, because we do need that, the normal split, because that's how we split your costs anyway.
They're hearing about it tonight too, and they're all talking with Jen.
Because,
So-
as you said, even if you had to do all that, it'd come back to us, because you give us a budget, it's a automatic filler, and, we just are a transfer agent. Because we're the fiduciary, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense, because otherwise we'd have 3 ordinances, you'd have Underhill,
Right.
Jericho, and, it doesn't look good to us. To
So,
the person.
Are you okay with us doing nothing right now and you talking to whoever's at Underhill and saying, like Jericho's thinking 3 months, and then if you guys say like, yeah, then come back to us or talk to John and just say like, hey, we would love 3 months starting May 1st, and then we can
Are you
just.
guys saying you willing to do May, June, July?
Yep, if Underhill.
If Underhill is willing to also do May, June, July.
But we don't have a motion declaring that to give you that proof.
But I don't-
But
I don't
what we're
wanna-
saying, we don't really want to do
I
the
don't want to make
motion
a
until
motion,
we
so
have.
Underhill, like,
few
no,
more
you want one
particulars,
month,
but-
and then we'll do, forget on motion, we'll do 1 month. So do you want to just coordinate
Sure.
and get the same message in both places? And the next meeting, we can make a motion and
Sure.
pass it, so it's coordinated.
But it sounds like we're generally,
What did Underhill approve last night?
Yeah, right now.
Oh, okay. So they're deliberating still. They haven't made any approval or,
No, you're presenting, like, someone's,
someone-
No, that's half of our.
but I mean, someone's from JUPD is there right now
oh,
having
that's
this
weird. I thought they
conversation.
said they met last night.
Well, they did, they have to move it to tonight because they didn't have a quorum, because they
Oh.
only have 7.
Okay,
Oh,
gotcha,
Fine.
gotcha. Okay, I'm clear.
But, yeah.
we can't have 7.
they can.
I don't think so. The city could,
Well,
but
anyway, they have more, and they didn't have enough tonight, or last night, so it's tonight.
So they're hearing about it. We'll talk to. Maybe Kim there and see what they. Yeah, I'll get on the agenda for next.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like whatever we do should be aligned.
Yes.
Yeah, we know what the shared costs are gonna be. We know what the date of the trial period is.
Yep. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for taking on the dock. Like I said, I lived 3 doors down and don't use it because, so I appreciate you trying to do something. Whether it works or not, we'll see, but
I'm gonna start packing pepper spray.
it never occurred to me, like, that's a great idea.
yeah, I never do either. I mean, I don't,
I've clearly been underarmed.
I used to use it a lot when I lived on this side of town. Now I just go out back, but
Let's get the bill.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah,
Thanks, Chris.
yeah. Thank you very much.
Meet you, Linda. Or Donna, I'm sorry.
Next is the reappointment to committees with terms expiring in 2024. And then next is appointing Brandon, because the library is the last one on the list.
I looked over the list. Is this just a motion for the appointments as presented?
You could do that with
It-
the changes as, noted, because like Wayne Ellis only wants to be appointed for 1
Yeah.
year, so his term would only go to 2025.
There are a few exceptions, so you might make a motion for all the standard. All the standard appointments. And then go through the exceptions.
Yeah,
Could we
because
could we approve the appointments as presented and have this document as the backup to that, or is that too?
yeah, but you gotta pull out like the 2025, is that, or at least note that. And then
What do you mean, Paul?
yeah, because see, his term expires in 2027, but he only wants to be appointed for 1 year.
Oh,
So that goes to 2025. You need to make that, we need to make that change.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. It's sad that Richard doesn't want to be reappointed. That means we have to look for a health officer. And the emergency management coordinator is typically the town administrator. So we need to put that in there.
Okay.
And then, for the DEI committee, they got to look for another MMU student. MMU student starting, and because Sonnet is a MMU student.
Yeah, they have one, they currently have two and they have it arranged, so they usually come in their junior year, so they can serve 2 years.
Right,
So this is Sonnet's second year, and I'm gapping on the name of the other current MMU student,
but obviously he's able to do a
Right.
second year.
but they'll need to bring.
Then they'll bring in a junior
Yeah,
to
assumedly they'll find a
backfill,
junior
right.
to replace Sonnet.
So, yeah, and then SJs will be empty. And it's, so Steve Schwartz, I mean, he was chair, so that means they need another person plus a new chair then.
Yeah, so they actually,
They have a new chair.
they've
do?
appointed a chair.
Good.
Cody Phillips, who came in and met with Paul and I the other day. And so they're gonna need to appoint another general member.
Okay. State general member, okay. So if you just, otherwise you can make that.
So what's the, why don't you?
All
Sure.
of them can be done except the town library, because we have to actually interview that person, because they're actually here, we're on the agenda to be,
That's not a reappointment. Right? That's a.
no, that's a new appointment. But
Okay.
otherwise, they're ready to go.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve all of the reappointments that are listed on this document that'll be entered into the record with the following changes. Wayne Ellis, the term expires in 2025 instead of 2027. And the bottom row, Jericho Town Library, not part of this motion.
Oh, sorry, second, I was thinking about the bottom row. Yeah, second, sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
I would have been mad if you were like, no.
No, actually, you didn't say it right.
All, so, did we all say aye?
Yep.
We did.
Motion passes. All right, next on the agenda is Brandon Ackel.
Brandon, you out there?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you very much.
Hi, thanks for having
So
me.
we-
Good evening.
So we take it you have, met with the library board and they're very happy and are recommending, passing your
Appointment.
appointment over to the select board.
Yes.
And so we'll always start with, tell us a little bit about yourself and
Yeah.
why you're interested in the library.
Yeah. My name is Brandon Ackel. I'm a Jericho resident now. It'll be 4 years in November. My wife and I moved here from Williston. We love this town, and I felt very a pull to be more engaged in this town than I've had. Vermonter, lived in Essex and many places around Chittenden County, but definitely feel a pull to be more involved in my community. And I have a 2-year-old daughter now, and we've definitely benefited from a lot of the services of this library. And it's something we make a routine habit out of coming to. So when I saw the position was open, I just showed my interest, and now here I am.
Oh, great. Now, you get to ask questions.
My question is just, do all new appointments happen this way?
Yes.
Yes,
So the only reason he's pulled off of this is because it's not a reappointment.
right.
If he wants to continue after whatever, in 4 years, he'll just get reappointed.
Right.
Unless he does a really bad job. and then
Unless he
we'll-
really butchers it.
Yeah. Right. But he's gotta get through this rigorous
Yeah,
process
rigorous,
here.
once he navigates this interview.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's great. Thanks for stepping up and
Yeah.
doing that work.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
What's one thing you'd love to see different at the library?
I I think, well, just the first meeting I was at, and also speaking with Catherine, the library director, there seems to be a lot of interesting change coming to that library with a lot of the proposals. And I, you know, looking at the fact that there's two libraries, having been to both Deborah Rawson and this one, I see they're serving different kind of community groups. And this library is definitely serving a younger audience, which I really like. And to see kind of leaning in more into those community aspects for young children and families, and trying to expand what that currently looks like. I think, Catherine and the group is currently doing a really great job, and they're bringing a lot of great programming that I've certainly benefited from. And talking with the parents during play groups, I kind of, understand what their kind of needs and what wants are for the library. So I think I have a good benefit of having those one-on-one conversations with parents who are benefiting from the library to try to expand that into what the library could be.
That's a good
I'm
question.
going to ask you a fiery one, which I don't normally do. What do you say to people so I've had residents ask me this question: why does Jericho need two libraries? So what do you say to residents that have that?
I'm doing my research, and hopefully I'm correct. It does look like that the Deborah Rawson Library serves the Underhill community too, and that they actually pay into that library as well as Jericho. So I think there's a dual service for both of those towns, and they're in different locations. So while I can see that, why are we paying for this? I do, having gone to the Deborah Rawson and experienced what they have, and going to this library, I do think that they are servicing different aspects of the community. Again, with the book selections and the programming does service a lot of the younger generation right now. I think there's a benefit, and I think it can be expanded. And I think there's always a conversation to articulate why there's a need for two libraries. And just to be, the way I feel is having two libraries is never a bad thing. Especially, I love living in Vermont, and I like the fact that we don't necessarily deal with the same problems as some of the other states do when it comes to their issues with content and what is and isn't allowed in certain states. So to be a part of that and to continue, encouraging people to use library services, I think is only a benefit for a community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for him? Well, then a motion to appoint.
I will make a motion to appoint Brandon Ackel to the Jericho Town Library Committee with a term expiring
2028.
in 2028.
The minutes say the agenda says 2027.
Well,
Yeah, that was a typo.
Okay.
It is 2028.
Second the motion.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You are now officially a member of the trustees of the Jericho Town Library. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, Brendan.
Bye.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, we're going to appoint liquor licenses.
I just saw Jessica walk in.
She did.
She had some.
Yeah, because I wondered, because we have, in our packet, some that have, has the yellow, but this one on the table now has red as well, and wondered what the highlighted,
Can't
what,
read the red one.
Needs, dates and hours, dots and dimensions, sidewalk.
yeah,
I saw you walk in and walk right past.
yeah, and I,
I thought you were coming with food. Like I looked up and there was that tray. I'm like, all right.
want to spray.
We must sample all the liquor.
Oh no, all the things that are on tap right now at Lucy and How.
Yeah.
So I left a two-sided
Yeah.
thing and then a list of
Oh, yeah,
applications received.
okay,
And then the second list is the application. I can put them in categories.
oh, good,
So this longer list is we've received the town payments.
Are these two separate lists?
They are two separate.
Okay,
lists.
great.
And the list that just has the two on there,
Mhm.
that is what I initially received, so it's received by the town,
Mhm.
but, there are things needed before I move it to the next step. And when
Okay.
it's in that, first list, I have the ability to send it back to the applicant if we need more information.
This one,
The smaller,
this one is more, needs more information.
well,
No,
depending on what you decide.
Wait, we decide.
You are the board of, the
Could we-
local board of liquor control.
Right, exactly.
And, all of these applications are renewals except for,
Yeah, this is new. I mean, even,
under second class sugar, Pine Martin LLC doing business as Stone's Throw Pizza, 38 Vermont Route 15. That's across from Kitten and Mills. It was
That's the
old
little-
Post office, heat agency at
Yeah,
one time.
that little building.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I understand, if that's gonna be takeout only, it's no sit-in.
Yeah, I can't imagine that have enough room.
They don't.
so. Class 2 is just.
Class 2 is usually like a general store,
Okay,
like they're
It's not sit in,
selling.
so it's just closed stuff. You can't.
They're
drink
not
it there.
serving it.
You can't drink
Okay.
it there.
I just forget which is which. So second class is they're closed and you just buy them like you would at any store.
Yeah.
First class is open, right?
First class is, it's served, and then, the only restaurant that we have that has a third class license, which is Spirituous Liquor, is Griffin Riders doing business as Jericho Cafe and Tavern. So that's like hard,
Spiritus.
spirit. And then the restaurants, so with first class, sometimes there's an outside consumption permit, and that is, just an outside area of food. Sorry.
What's the it's highlighted in red, the need dates and hours
So
mentions?
the two, things that I haven't read are, just
Be resolved.
I just wanted to point out and you guys decide. So I don't know. Actually, before we get to those, the first one that's highlighted in pink on this list
Okay.
is a request to cater. So that's no payments due to the town. It's an event happening just one day. So in this case, the date is April 8th to 2024. It's from 3 p.m. to 9:30 at the Mansfield Barn, 3 Irish Farm Road. There's 40 guests and it's a wedding reception.
On
It's
April
all for
8th.
the eclipse,
That's
yeah.
at the, when's the, what license, when's the wedding for? What's the time?
So the
The event?
catering license is from 3 p.m. to 9:30.
They're gonna
They should
be getting married right at the eclipse, I bet. I bet they get married like at
I bet.
3:42 or whatever it is.
yeah, 3:30
Right,
something,
right.
yeah. I bet they do.
So this
Bonnie Tyler
Just-
singing.
will follow the DRB hours and occupancy for the Mansfield Bar, so that it fits that, and there's no payment due to the town. So I don't know if you want to consider this one separate, or if you just want to wait until the end and make one motion, or.
Can you educate me in like less than 2 minutes about, is this an annual process?
No,
So it used to be an annual process. All of these licenses, except for this license to cater, expire April 30th. And it used to be statewide that they expire April 30th, but, the Department of Liquor and Lottery did this, update to a portal instead of paper applications.
Yep.
And now part of that change is if someone gets approved midway through the year, their annual renewal date will be the date of their.
Now it's annually from when you got licensed.
Yeah,
And it's
So that's what it's.
gonna become a
moving
rolling
towards.
thing over
But
time.
for Jericho,
They're all synced up.
most of them are April 30th. It's when you start adding new businesses.
And this is every place you can drink alcohol in Jericho right now on these papers.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
publicly.
Legally. is that
I
what you
said publicly.
Publicly.
So do you want to just review the list and then decide how you're gonna make a motion, or?
Starting with this paper.
I forgot my stupid reading glasses again. Gosh, I keep forgetting that I need them. Oh, generally you don't.
So this is a summary of this,
Yeah, I think this is probably the easiest thing to follow,
and what kind of motion gets made
So you're gonna look down.
to approve the first, second, and third class liquor licenses as presented by Jeff,
and there's also tobacco.
and tobacco liquor and tobacco substitute.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try this and see if it gets butchered. So I make a motion to approve the first, second, and third class liquor licenses and the tobacco and tobacco substitute licenses for the businesses presented by Jessica at the meeting.
And then are you gonna have?
Yeah, on the list that's 32124, so they know exactly which list we're looking at.
On the
We
what?
usually do discussion before the motions. Is there discussion you were hoping we'd have?
Yeah,
Okay,
I withdraw my motion.
okay,
I know some towns do like the motion
Motion
and then
and
do the
discussion
discussion,
and then
which feels
vote.
weird to me.
yeah,
I think that's so you can articulate exactly what you're voting on and then discuss that,
Yeah.
but whatever.
okay.
so under first class, Griffin Riders LLC doing business as Jericho Cafe and Tavern, they do have an outside consumption permit. And the language that's there is the same language that was on their permit last year, so it was approved last year, and they're the only ones that have the third class license.
But that's not what's being renewed. Cause what you have here is the first class, but is the third class.
It's a, also,
then
it's not- yeah, you're
includes,
right.
This also includes.
it also
class.
includes the
Oh,
third.
thank
It's
you.
not highlighted in yellow, but.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
thanks.
no payment due to the town, for the third class, for the first class, they had to pay, $115 to the town. So that one, all the boxes are checked. The next one is Kate's Food Truck. They also have an outside consumption permit. And below, I have the previous year's description, which was a bit easier to follow, and it had the times and the
Right,
year on it. This one, it says the sidewalk to the bathrooms in the northwest, the slope of Route 15 to the east, from the slope of the driveway in the north adjacent to Dollar General to the slope of the adjacent empty lot in the west, incorporates all the flat areas for picnic tables and the flat areas around the truck, excluding the parking lot. So I.
they've expanded it then, haven't they?
Well, it doesn't really have dimensions on it, so it's hard to say, and it does not have hours.
Because the hours are important, because.
And the last one was year-round use, so I think as far as the dates of use would be
Yeah.
year-round.
Yeah, because that was, they had to go back to the DRB for the hours for the outside consumption, I think.
So last year, the hours were 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah, so I think we need to have the hours. The hours are important.
So the option would either be to send it back to Kate's Food Truck to make their amendments and make it clear with dimensions and dates and times, or to use the previous year's description.
I'd be fine with just using the previous year's description. Right?
Is
Like,
that gonna?
that would
is that
be
gonna-
the,
But are they asking in the upper description, which I can't follow on, I'm not good with north, south, east, west.
Yeah, I
But-
brought this in.
But are they trying to expand the area? And if we go back to last year, they'll be like, oh crap, we didn't want that, we wanted this extra.
oh, I
piece of
see what
lawn."
you're saying.
So it could just be sent back for them to clarify.
I feel like it'd be better
Yeah.
to. rather
I
than
was just thinking
approve it.
about the hours. I wasn't really thinking about the.
But yeah, it should be, a little more clear, and then include the hours. That would be good.
So Lucy Howe Brewing Company LLC, they have an outside consumption permit, which is the same language as last year, except the date. So they don't do it year round. They're saying April 4th, 2024 to December 1st,
I mean, that's kind of generous going to December outside.
11 to 5, and 20 by 20 foot area enclosed on the southern side of the building, accessible through the first class area only. It's enclosed by the building and walls, or by the building walls on the north and western side, a fence on the southern side, and a fence with a gate on the eastern side, which is the street side.
So I'm confused by that one. So that's at Jericho Ale and Bean, or that's at the brewery?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's where they used to hang deer when it was.
In fact,
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to remember it.
How come it's under, so because it's them asking for the permit, but they're asking for the permit at Jericho Ale and Bean?
Yes.
Because they
Yes.
also have a,
Coffee place, yeah.
no, but don't they exist? They exist elsewhere, right? In
They
town?
make-
I'm not sure if they still do
I
it
don't
anymore.
think he
I don't think they do it
drinks,
anymore.
I don't think he,
Oh, so it's only there.
I think
yeah.
they brew
And
it
it's
all
just,
happening
it's just
there.
his half of the business that's asking for the permit, and it's just weird that it's
I think he owns
the
it.
store's name isn't the one asking, you know what I mean?
I think he's the
Yeah, I think that's-
LLC is the owner.
I think that, again, I don't know how their business is organized, but I think they're separate.
Two businesses.
Yeah, they're separate entities housed in
Right.
the same
Right.
location.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the alcohol side is asking permission to sell alcohol outside.
It's just the ale guy, not the bean guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, my assumption was that that's where it was, but it's just weird it didn't say.
And then.
It doesn't have, like, the
next
address or
one
anything.
Also has a, outside consumption permit, that's Metric Corporation doing business as Mountain High Pizza Pie. Their outside consumption area is a fenced-in area next to the restaurant, 64 by 40, permanent use, so year-round, 11 to 9. And that's the same as last year's. So in second class, Pine Martin LLC, Sugar Flake Group, Jolly Associates LLC, CMB Holdings LLC, and AGS Vermont Incorporated are the ones I've received. I'm expecting to receive one from Dollar General, but I've received nothing.
Weren't they late last
They
year?
were late last year, so you're gonna be meeting again, probably at the beginning of April
Yeah.
for these, for Dollar General and, Sinclair Inn had like a hotel license or something.
That's right, they
And
did.
they haven't, I haven't received their application yet. either.
Hmm.
Those two, Dollar General and the Sinclair Inn, which I think was called Faithful something. Maybe the next time. The Sugar Flake Group doing business as Jericho Country Store. I said in the beginning, Jericho Center Country Store Incorporated is expecting to transfer ownership to Jericho Country Store, which is operated by Sugar Flake Group. So Sugar Flake Group completed the application and said that they mailed it yet, but I haven't received it yet.
So they actually sold it then.
It has not sold yet, but it will sell before April 30th.
Huh.
And
I'm
then
glad somebody bought it.
tobacco, all those listed, is Jericho, so actually it would be Jericho Country Store, Jolly Associates LLC, CMB Holdings LLC, and AGS Vermont Incorporated are the ones that I've received, and there's no payment due to the town anyway with those. And tobacco substitute, the only two applicants are the Jolly Associates LLC and the CMB Holdings LLC. So that's all the same.
It's the tobacco substitutes, the baby stuff, the vaping stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So with the Sugar Flake Group, I'm comfortable if it gets approved tonight, and then I just won't put it into the ready to go pile until the check comes in the mail, but they said they have mailed it. And then with the Kate's food truck, I don't know if you want to approve the first class license and then just be waiting on the outside consumption permit details, or if you just want to hold off.
I think it's easier to hold off on the whole thing, because they're not ready to open up yet, are they? I mean, I don't want to stop.
They opened.
They have opened?
Is it
Oh,
open? You mean because the sign they have out front?
No, they posted that
Oh,
they
they did?
opened for like baked potatoes and soup.
I think it's a 1-day pop-up. They, on the sign, it says like pop-up
Yeah,
March, whatever. It sounded like me like it was, we're coming in for
Oh,
one
maybe.
day to do stuff. and
maybe,
then we're
yeah,
shutting
you're
back
right.
down.
I don't think they're permanently open, but
So their current license goes through April 30th, so if they get everything in by.
Yeah.
For the next select board meeting, then.
They're
they
good.
should hold up their license.
that's right. So, because I think it's just easier to do it all at once rather than two segments.
Yep.
But otherwise, the sugar one is, you're fairly comfortable with including that anyway, so.
And they may take more time for approval because it's their first time.
So maybe. Well. Should we wait on that then too, if they're gonna take longer, you think? And do them both at the same
You
time?
think Sugar Flake will take
It's
longer?
gonna take longer for DLL to approve them, because probably DLL has to visit them before they approve it.
So can we approve them before DLL does?
You do have to approve it
Okay,
before DLL.
okay.
DLL has the final say that they're following
Okay.
the.
We're giving it our blessing and then
Yeah.
DLL says,
Because I think with the outside consumption permit and having it barricaded, like, I think that's a requirement of.
Yep.
The
Okay.
inspector that comes out.
Even if you use a pallet fence.
yeah, I have no idea how to make this motion, so.
yeah, I'm confused of how to make it through.
We need to read off every single thing, every single individual.
So I could do,
Business?
so if we're working off this, I can do it. I don't know what to do with this.
I think working off of this is easy, is.
Yeah, I don't know what.
You
these
just
are.
have to add the wedding at the barn.
Okay,
Yeah, that would,
okay. So I'll make a motion for the following first class licenses to serve alcohol. Griffin Writers LLC, DBA Jericho Cafe and Tavern. Lucy and Howe Brewing Company LLC, assuming they're talking about this happening at Jericho Ale and Bean.
Oh, I would also include,
And-
I would also include that third class license for the.
Oh, God. That's not gonna make it easy.
Okay, just start over. It's just do first class, Griffin Writers, but and it just say including their third class.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for the following first class licenses. Griffin Writers LLC, DBA, Jericho Cafe and Tavern, and also include the third class restaurant bar license to sell spirits
And
liquor,
include outside consumption. They need that too.
Yep,
which also includes outside consumption permit. And Lucy and Howe Brewing Company LLC, assuming that they are talking about the location of Jericho Ale and Bean to also include the outside consumption permit. And Maytruck Corporation DBA Mountain High Pizza Pie, which also includes an outside consumption permit.
Second, you done right there? You gonna stop right there?
That
Okay,
was it.
second, yep.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I will make a motion to
Yeah, there you
approve
go.
a second class liquor license for the following organizations. Pine Martin LLC, Jolly Associates LLC, DBA Jericho Jolly, CMB Holdings LLC, doing business as Chittenden Mills Beverage, AGS Vermont Incorporated, DBA Jericho Market. We want Sugar Flake and,
yeah.
Yep.
okay. Sugar Flake Group, DBA Jericho Country Store, and then we're holding off on, okay.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion for the following tobacco licenses. Jericho Center Country Store, DBA. It's backwards.
I think it is backwards, sorry.
Yeah. So the Sugar Flake Group doing business as Jericho
Country Store, yeah.
Country Store, Jolly Associates LLC. CMB Holdings LLC, also known as Chittenden Mills Beverage. And AGS Vermont Inc., doing business as Jericho Market.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion to issue a tobacco substitute endorsement to Jolly Associates LLB, DBA Jericho Jolly number 303, and CMB Holdings LLC, doing business as Chittenden Mills Beverage.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And now don't forget the wedding.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
And I would like to make a motion to approve the catering license for, I'm sorry, Waterfront Yogurt and Sandwich Company
It's on April 8th.
on April 8th at the Mount Mansfield Barn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I mean, that's a very special, unique wedding.
Yeah.
And now you pronounce you able to drink alcohol.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
In the pitch black.
With glasses.
In the
on.
black. in
With
black.
special
Right.
glasses on.
Yeah.
That'll
Do
be a
you
good
want to
shot.
include in the minutes why we're holding on Kate's food truck?
Yeah, maybe we could state that as a statement. The board is expecting to be able to approve Kate's food truck. We just need clarification on hours and a little bit more clarification on the specifics of the dimensions of the outdoor consumption area.
Is that true? Do we need more?
We just need to figure out what that means.
Okay, just a little, so, okay, just, if I were them, I'd be like, you got a map and it's black and white, it's right there, like, I can't be more clear than that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with, that's why I was like, well, we could just do it with the old hours and just call it good, but if the new area is I don't know, I guess here's what I don't know. I don't
What
know if
new
it's
area?
drastically different from the
They're
old
different
area.
Change, yeah.
Should we do the work, I'm not, this is a genuine question, should we do the work of looking at the map and figuring out what they're talking about? Or do we want them to just make it more clear? in
They
their
should
next-
do the work.
They should make it more clear in their next.
I do sort of agree with Peter in that they did a pretty good job
I mean, it's like-
describing it.
Right. But they didn't have the hours. You'd say,
Yeah, but we can, that's what I mean. We could do the hours and just say,
Yeah.
hours are the same as last year.
Well,
Because that's
you have a map, right? Did you say, I think you said you had a map of
Actually,
Kate's.
This map is from a DRB approval, and so I was actually just trying to figure out north, south, east, west with this description, and I had trouble following it, but
if you had trouble, then we need to know a little better then, because
Sidewalk to bathrooms in northwest areas is still good.
well, I just really
Yeah.
wasn't sure
Yeah, I think
the slope of the driveway,
yeah,
like, is the edge of the driveway, but
yeah, if you had trouble, I mean, because you're the one who really,
the slope of the driveway in the north adjacent, yeah, I agree, the language, it's very precise, but it's using very precise north, south, east, west and markers, but it's hard to follow. I would agree, so I should ask for a little more clarification, a little more clear, a clearer description of the space.
or if it's even different from last
Or,
year.
yeah. And then to include the hours, whatever they want,
what's approved.
whatever they want us to approve.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Next is the,
We're in way over time on that.
but we're way ahead.
Right, we are, yeah.
Yes, on the whole.
We knew we wouldn't get it right.
no, and you never will.
Usually usually we do get these alcohol things and they're just catering. And so usually that is like a 5-minute thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like when you see it on the next time, don't be like,
Wait
well,
a
we
minute,
gotta
half
add
hour
40
for
minutes.
this, right.
Like it usually is very quick.
Very
So why was this longer?
Because
Because
we're doing the whole year.
It's the annual.
Oh, normally it's just I'm having a party,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
bringing a
yes,
caterer in, can you? Okay.
Circumstantial.
We'll get one of those
Gotcha.
for every Saturday of the summer at the
Okay.
Mount Mansfield Bar.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, real,
Gotcha,
lots and
okay,
lots of,
okay.
lots and lots. So right now, we're working on the updates,
Liquor and tobacco.
select board updates.
On the loader, Bob.
Yeah. Thank you for
Bobby,
coming,
hanging in
Bob.
there, big week, holy moly.
had 4 hours of sleep.
I know. Thanks for being here.
I know, and now they
Yesterday
have
was
another
the-
winter storm warning out there.
Yesterday? Yeah, it was the weirdest weather.
Yes,
They were
yesterday
wondering-
opened up.
They were hoping sunshine.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
They are well
Well,
They
aware.
confirmed on the weather tonight on the news, so.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bob, for
Just a
coming
little
in.
bit more winter, just a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah, after all that lovely warm weather. I tell you, the amount of gravel they had to put on Bentley was really weird
I
this
was up
year.
there smoothing it out, it's like, my God, man.
It's never been like that in years and years.
No, it's perfect,
Yeah.
but it's like, it keeps on going. And
Yeah, I can't believe with our car, we even scraped bottom. It was just like a bog. It was like, oh my gosh,
It's just like,
Oh,
unusual.
bad.
It was,
bad.
and it's never done that. It's been years and years since it's been that bad. It was like,
Oh.
early living here, when trucks would pull up
I
out
think-
trucks, things like that.
the ground is just super saturated.
I
from
think that's
all the
it.
rain we got this summer. I just don't think it ever.
All this rain we got this winter. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems
Yeah,
like
and
it
this
rained
winter for
that
It really was a
all
lot of rain.
February
A
and-
lot of saturation,
Yeah.
Yep.
Bob, quick question before you leave. Is this still,
yes.
okay, so we didn't, there's nothing
No, the difference was not anything,
substantial. Okay, great,
no. It was best to stick to our guns.
perfect, great. Thanks for confirming. Hey, can you just say your name on, so we have it on the
Yes,
record?
it's Bob McGee, work on the highway crew.
Great, thanks for being here.
Okay, so I know there was questions asked, and I guess we can do a brief on the loader. The loader is a 2015, it's Caterpillar. I have your capital plan as of 2021. This is something that we've put together.
That's right.
The replacement year is due 2027. So back about 2 months ago, I don't usually drive that much with the.
I'm sorry, you say 2027 is the year?
2027.
Okay,
replacement.
thank
Yeah, on the capital plan that
Yeah,
had been
yeah, yeah,
updated.
Yeah,
It's well detailed, it's,
yeah, we saw that in our last meeting. So,
Right.
yeah, it's
what has transpired is about a couple months ago. Usually people use it a lot is Roger and Casey. And they were talking about this noise, so I'm one that, if there's a noise, there's a reason. So we took it out and it was making this clicking noise, so finally, after them showing me, and me taking it out on the highway, we called the tech from Caterpillar. And they came in, they put it on their computer, and then he took it down the road and concurred that there was a problem with the equipment. So we set up a date, I went down on the 22nd, I believe, 22nd of January. And they brought it in and it was almost 2 months it was gone. The unfortunate thing is, and I believe that it showed up on, I don't know, John, if you've seen the document from Caterpillar explaining, I'll tell you, long story short, what happened was the tech told, the tech told the service manager that there was a noise. The unfortunate thing is they tore out the wrong end of the loader. However, the loader did have some problems with that particular bearings and stuff like that. So the day that Roger went down to pick it up with Casey, he got as far as about, I don't know, 100 feet, and it started leaking oil out of it, and the noise was still there.
Was it leaking oil before?
No. It was definitely a mechanical error. So they brought it back. And they explained to him, and the tech, even the tech that was there, explained to him that it was a noise. They thought it was some sort of another noise, and long story short, they tore it apart. And I had a picture thing, I'll just give you.
Oh, yeah. Pictures are always
You can
nice.
look at it, but you can see that you'll strip here.
Oh, yeah, stripped out.
Stripped right out. Okay, so that's caused gears like that loader has got a lot of hours on it. Not for the year that and the time frame that you use a loader. We use it all the time, but you don't use it 8 hours a day.
But what it got down to is, it's a clear indication that, the loader was used prior to, and I have to have a lot of faith in the group we have. But by looking at those gears and concurring with the tech, is as well as things where was riding that loader before was going into a pile of material. Instead of going in, you're supposed to go into the material easy.
Right.
What he was doing, he was going in, flipping the switch and going in reverse. That's like taking a car going down the road at 30 miles an hour, then just throwing in reverse.
Yeah.
So that's basically what stripped those gears. I mean, had all the oil in it. It was recently done in, I believe, August of this year. The last, what you call, servicing that Caterpillar puts on the program, you know, like John Deere, they do the same thing. They come in, they do all the servicing. It's our last hoorah of getting anything free out of them. So at that point in time, they did their thing and they said everything was okay. Then we come up to this January problem and things went bad. So that was that was the main part of it. Now, I know there's questions asked about looking at the life expectancy, if there is parts available. Caterpillar, I think I did this with the truck. The problem now is that there's conglomerates, there's companies now that bought out everybody.
Mhm.
Caterpillar owns the Caterpillar Milton Cat, which is the headquarters. Owns 15 dealerships. Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island. So basically, there is not, I know somebody will think about a second opinion. It's not
Yeah.
there. It's one tech, he's looked at it, they put, you know, it's a nationwide work order that if it went, you know, gets sold and went somewhere else, they could take the serial number and say it was originally in Richmond. And so at that, we also talked about what could go bad. When I was working for Chittenden Solid Waste, we had John Deere's, and what you look into is you look at life expectancy of a loader in any municipal case. Usually when you start heading up for 15,000 hours, that's time to get rid of it. However, it's all how you use it. One of my concerns was, and we had this same thing happen, they kept it a little too long. This is the one that was at the processing center, is just wear and tear. And with this thing that happened to this particular loader with the gear strip, I'm really concerned over the clutches that are in the motor. It's basically a transmission. If they've been flipping the gears and having to go back and forth, I'm worried about the drivetrain. The drivetrain, you're looking at about $25,000 to $30,000 because they have to totally split it apart, pull everything out.
Rebuild the whole thing.
Yeah, and reboot. So looking at, I don't have a crystal ball. I gotta say, oil plated motor, Caterpillar is the name of the game.
Right.
They're it. I know, Catherine, that you were involved with the grader.
Yeah.
With the grader. And what I was told about the grader, it was the same thing. It looked like the same MO where somebody was jamming it. You know, there's a lot of transmission issues. And I think it reflects of really what the weak point of Caterpillar is. If you use it right, you don't have any problem. But if you abuse it, and it doesn't make any difference whether it's Caterpillar, John Deere, or whatever.
Ain't mechanical, you're wailing on it.
This is what you're going to get. So the concern is that, yeah, so I think I figured out 23 grand was all done.
Yeah.
So we're at 23 grand. So what's next? We don't know. But one of the things we do need, or any town needs, is a loader.
Right.
It's 365 days a year. I mean, all we've been doing for the last 3 weeks is loading salt and sand. In the summertime, you're pushing up piles of gravel and everything else that's coming in for the winter. So, what it got down to is I wanted to, rent from Caterpillar, but the pricing was way out of sight, so we call it John Deere because they're a little more, user-friendly for municipalities. They provide us a loader. It was $5,000 a month. These are 2 months. That's 10 grand. And then, we had to truck it. They got the bill on the trucking. That was $900 to and from. To use it. The unfortunate thing is that if we had the crystal ball of seeing what could go wrong, which we don't want to go wrong, is every time we have this issue going, the transmission goes bad, it's not something that they're gonna fix right off. It was one of the things I've always said. Any town is not ECI, Ireland, and all these other places. They have hundreds of pieces of equipment, and I'm not saying that we're not the little people. We are in the sense of they're getting their equipment out to get the work done. Because it sat there, once that thing came back, and they come to take it back because it was leaking, it sat there. Because they didn't have staff to do it, so they're working on other stuff. So the problem is this, is that, yeah, we might be okay, but we might not be okay. And it's gonna happen where we're gonna end up again renting a loader or whoever, depending on who it is, but you start eating up five grand a month. Most of this equipment is not done within a week or so. It's long term. Like you said, you gotta pull it apart. It's time consuming. But as far as getting parts, they're available. I mean, even the old Caterpillars, the old John Deeres or whatever you got, yeah, they're out there. But as far as the monopoly today, is that we were talking about truck a few months ago for a backhoe or whatever, they've got the market. If you want a John Deere, it's all over the eastern United States, the North. If you want a Caterpillar, it's pretty much in New England.
Yeah.
And so they're pretty much now taking over the little thing. If you like cat, you get a cat. If you want John Deere, you get a John Deere. But, so I talked to Tim Pudvar, which is one, so it's you, the grader. And I don't go estimate it, give an estimate, and it's worth 97,000 for a trade-in. One of the things that Paula asked me, and she forgot just to tell you people, is that under the leasing agreement, that the first year would be no payment. They seen the bid?
Yeah, well, this is what was shared. It wasn't included in the packet.
So first year, explain that first year, no payment.
It's what they call it in arrears. You don't pay, the first year you don't pay.
Are we accruing interest in the first year?
No, first year.
Free. You work for free, then you pay, or you
And the packet also shows what you want to do.
different payment options.
Payment options. The rate is 5.95, but he also indicated that gets adjusted over time. Like we're hearing today that the interest rates might go down 3 times here the next. Well, for the year, I'll see it to believe it, but.
Yeah, the select board certainly.
So that's a variable rate,
Yeah.
5.9?
Yeah.
Oh, it is fixed. Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm just saying though that.
A year from now, it could be.
7-year lease.
Yeah.
then It might drop down.
Yeah.
But you're gonna put in more principal in your.
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, the feds certainly have got the stock market going because of that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so the loader that we have now, we just got fixed, the 2015. Did we buy that brand new?
I see, that was before my time. I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it
So
was.
too, Peter.
So we were the ones, not accusing you, but so we were the ones abusing it. We didn't buy it used and someone had been cranking on it. So someone has been driving it in the last 10 years.
I hate being critical of people because I'm one that
Yeah,
you have to take care of your stuff, because I do believe.
yeah,
that the
Right.
grader and the loader have had some abuse issues. And I know it's, well.
You can read it, got stripped out, right?
yeah.
The only thing that I'm sitting here without showing you the proof. It's-
Right.
You know, and Adam was certainly very active in trying to replace equipment that had been,
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
And, the
Bad shape.
apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and
Yeah.
that's the way he's always been, that, if he was waving the flag, then it was definitely something. It's not something, we want something shiny. Because if you look at the loader, I mean, when he left, we still keep it nice and clean and everything's maintained, but problem is, you can't see what's going on the inside.
If you're wailing on it, you're crashing the transmission.
What's next?
What do you think we should do, Bob?
Well, firstly, I also, the other thing is, the guys that run it, because I started in January last year, and I'm 68 years old, and I'm not planning on being there for 15 years with this piece of equipment.
You're gonna leave them instructions on how to.
We have that on the record.
Do not slam it in reverse.
Yeah. But, what I'm looking at is, like I said to John and Paula, I can say right now, when Adam left, that I can say from everything that he's purchased, the grader and everything else, we've had a thumb on it, on everything. The things that are sticking out there right now is the backhaul, you got the loader issue, over, we got the truck issue we're gonna deal with down the road.
Yeah, we have to.
That. But, I'm a firm believer, I think that when you throw money away at a lease, you're just, it's like, and not only that, when I said earlier, is you're not using 8 hours a day. So you got this loader sitting there at, $5,000 a month, and you're only using it, 4 or 5 hours,
So I'm a little lost with that comment. So where's our loader right now?
it's back.
Okay.
Got rid of the other one, cleaned it up, shipped it back the other day.
The one we were
the
leasing
rest
for
of the
five.
rental.
The leaf went back for
Yeah,
5K.
the rental was due last Friday, so we get it out of here.
Okay, good.
They picked it up and took it out, motor's back, reusing
Okay.
it. Everything seems to be running fine,
And we're into it for 23,000.
excuse me.
And we're into it for 23,000.
Plus the,
Not only that. we
all the
also
travel
have-
fees and stuff,
Huh?
and the travel fee.
Yeah, there's a travel fee. And not only that, is we've also put 10 grand into tires on. it. So one of the things that we looked into first tires, because I don't think no difference in tires, but you got ag tires, you got, what you call it, a all season type tire, even on big equipment.
Yeah.
So talking to John Deere, because we did discuss with Tim, is that we're just gonna spending 10 grand on some real good tires. So he, at their expense, if we buy the loader, they're gonna switch the tires,
Oh.
the tires are the same thing. Because the problem with the tires, what you call construction tires, taking it from here, from there to here, pushing back snow, it's treacherous. The tires we have on it, we have on the grader now. It's what you call a all-season tire that has a good grip, but if you're in snow or ice, you're not in peril. So they agreed that they would switch the tires around as well. So, like I say, it's your call.
So they're-
Things might be okay, but then again, I can't,
How many hours does that loader currently have on it, Bob? Do you remember?
Oh, he's gonna get it from the
We had the 2021 sheet.
2021 sheet showed it with
Oh,
Like
that's right.
7,000 or
I
something.
don't know, like 2,800 or something.
I don't know.
yeah, right here, I'm sure.
That's what I remember. So it's at about half of what you would anticipate
Yeah,
its standard life to be at 15,000 hours.
yeah, they, should have stuck in those.
Wasn't it on that landscape sheet you had, Bob, the chart?
Yeah, I don't have,
That's right here.
yeah, I don't have my,
That had the hours, I
Capital
think, on
plan sheet.
2021.
Capital plan is where
Yeah,
I think it
Yeah.
is.
yeah, I don't see it on there.
No,
yeah.
maybe not.
but I think you're right, Eric. I remember,
The year, ideal replacement cycle. And the cycle was supposed to be 12 years.
12 years,
Oh, 30, 37, 32 hours.
37,
Current?
The
32.
20
Yeah.
In 21.
Yep,
No, right now, I think he's saying.
3,732 hours.
That's as of today, or, I mean,
February 2nd, 2024.
Wow,
yes.
3,100.
Wow, so that's
Jesus, that's not.
That's
like
not much.
a quarter of its
The fifth, yeah.
shelf
Yeah.
life.
Yeah,
Fifth.
Oh,
and having it. That's not good.
No, it's not. No, I
Yeah.
agree.
So, I was just gonna, so worst case scenario, so if, continue to drive it. No saying what's gonna happen next.
Really can't.
Could have it for a couple months, could have it for a number of years. And then we'd be back in the same position.
Right, and the big thing is if we knew that, okay, we're not gonna use a loader for a week, you can have it.
Sure.
We wouldn't have to rent, but I think when you start getting into spending money on a rent.
Right, and then,
You know, it's not
That's
like.
where I get-
Sure.
Get our car fixed and they'll call Enterprise, say, well, we need for a couple of days, which is, you know. that doesn't-
and then the value, of course, is gonna
Right.
continue
I was
to
a
decrease
customer,
too.
I was a customer of the price that they were.
The trade-in.
the trade-in,
Yeah.
you know.
And how much is the new one?
The new one,
What's the
the total would be.
Oh, it's only 267,000.
267? So 167, we would be financing 167.
Yeah. And if you advance payment at 5 years, which is what we do for financing trucks and vehicles like that. The advance payment is 3208, essentially 3209. And if you do the arrears, which is what you say is not paying the first year,
Free.
first year free, it's 3225 a month. Yeah,
I believe in your budget, you have a lease thing for leasing equipment.
We do. I was just looking at that, actually. Can't remember how it's,
yeah, I think that's usually for the summer stuff or odds and ends and
yeah,
things like that.
hired, yeah, it's for hired equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically not intended for equipment replacement, but to use for special projects. We have 31,000 budgeted for 25.
And, well, if you did the arrears, then you don't have to pay anything in 25 essentially.
Right, so the next budget, we at least have time to prepare and have it in.
Yeah, I mean, there is that potential if we have to. And that's one way of doing it, is doing the arrears then.
So we're 8 years into this one, which has not been treated well.
Yeah. A lot of our equipment had not been treated well, it turns out.
So why wouldn't we, if they'll let us, why wouldn't we spread it over 8 years? If they're lasting 8 years, if a one that was abused lasted 8 years and the lifespan should be 12 years.
I think if, to give you, for instance, the grader, because that's your newest big piece of equipment. If you, and we have stuck wholeheartedly on what John Deere says, this is what's due at 5,000 hours or 4,000 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
And stick to it, and stick to good training and making sure people do it. That grader, I don't know, is it on the sheet? Right, so that grader would last 12 years. And that loader, I think the loader will do the same thing. You just gotta, just know that you can't sit there and beat it.
And wail on it.
You can't wail.
But why wouldn't we spread that over 8 years if it should last 12, even an abused one lasted 8 years? And if we can treat it right, it'll last 12 years and just
Right.
spread that cost
Jim
over a
just-
wider.
I mean, this,
Are they just, do they just not offer that? I don't know.
No, they offer up to,
Oh,
they offer, it has to,
they offer up to 84 months.
which is 7
7
years.
years. Yeah, so 7 years.
So you could do it that, I mean, you know, it makes the payments a little more palatable to the budget. You know, when you're.
Well, it just spreads that cost across 7 years of taxpayers rather than
Right.
4 or 5 years of taxpayers. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but
No.
it's not like it's something that if we're doing it for 5 years because we hope we don't want to get caught where we still owe money on it when it dies. Like it
No, you don't want to
should
do that.
last
Yeah.
7 years easy.
Yeah, there was some reason 5 years was the split in terms of how you did capital long-term and capital and the other long-term budgeting where they would fall. I think that's, trying to remember way back when, why it was set up that way.
What I was thinking of when I was on that side of the table and someone was talking to Eric and about the bond
Mhm.
and Eric was like, I think Eric was saying like 20 years, let's get it done and paid off and be all set. And then somebody else was like, well, no, 30 years, you're spreading that cost across all the taxpayers. People paying now aren't paying for the. it's gonna be
Yeah,
used for
I
50
sort of had it.
years.
Yeah,
So
I kind of was looking at it first. When you look at that, how much you pay, it's like, oh my God, we save so much money if we do it in
Right,
20.
Right, exactly.
But then in later discussions, I think we were actually talking about a fire engine with, it was.
With the
oh,
fire
with
engine,
the double.
Yeah,
the double
that's
select.
what it was. That's.
And so she kind of pointed out, like, you need to spread that out over the life of it. And it's like, well, yeah, that the garage is gonna last us more than 20 years.
Right,
It'll last
right.
us more than,
Better
better
last
last
30
more than
years.
50 years.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I did kind of come around to that way of thinking, even though
I
like, for
agree.
my
At
own
home-
personal
at home,
budget,
I
I'm
would
like,
never do that. When
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
about to buy a car, I'm like, we're not going more than 4 years.
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Because at home, you can then start pocketing your car payments and build up to that, but we don't have that kind of system here where we're.
Right.
At one point, we were putting money, there was this flow of money in and out of, the highway equipment fund to pay for trucks, so that
Yeah.
when you
That's
look.
what you wouldn't it be, I would think you'd like set up your plan so that you just, here's your highway budget
Oh, yeah,
and all your
Oh, you
things
do
are,
that, yeah.
are cycled in and it's the same amount every, I mean, not literally, but.
that's why you have that base number that was like 295,000 for road improvement, that's how
Yeah.
that was set up.
Yeah.
And then you would, so you wouldn't see as much change, and we did the same thing with we had numbers spread out for quite a few years with the highway equipment fund, where some years you would be taking money from the fund to pay for these things, and other years you put money in. But,
So I was on the board in Debsbury. We had a couple people that really spent some time on it. But we based all our capital stuff on, we had pavement, we bought a gravel pit. And then equipment, and what we did was we took the grand list, meaning that 1 cent would raise this amount of money. And we knew if we used a figure, that taxpayers would understand that, okay, people, we're gonna put in 5 cents next year. And the thing about grand list is we all know people building houses, so it does bring up that kitty to add the incidentals, because the thing is, what we pay now for a loader 3 years from now
Right.
could cost more.
well, sure will.
Right, so that's how we proceed to do it, because now it's simple, because we're a Australian ballot now, we don't have a town meeting. People can see, oh, we've got 5 cents going in, and here are the line items. And we made it so that what you said, Catherine, was you can actually move it. If you're not doing pavement, but yet you had something bad go down with a bridge, you had to pay a higher percent on a bridge, you can move it. But they understand that it's only gonna be this. And if we had to raise it, it'd be a vote raising that penny figure to 6 cents or 7 cents.
That was interesting. Years ago, when Bob Penniman was on the board, and I was his acolyte, there was, because they had, for years, the select board had not put as much money into the road budget as needed, that we put an extra 3 cents on the rate to, raise up the highway budget.
Yeah.
But that was time limited, but, then we started, then when Todd came in, we did all these, shifted the funds so that you go in and out depending on what it is, but we've had to obviously use it a little more extensively than intended because of all the breakdowns that were things that were well used, shall we say.
Yeah.
So I understand the concept of doing the 7-year loan or, and we're not saying yes to this thing, by the way.
Right,
Like,
I
we're
was
just talking.
gonna say, yeah.
You have to think about it, yeah.
But here's my question. So I understand the cash flow, 7 years, that probably makes sense. Accounting wise, and maybe we need Brian to answer this, like if we buy it today, or we say, yes, Bob, go buy it, does that go on the current budget, or does it go when you make the payments if we defer? Like, how does that work accounting wise?
It's deferred from the time you sign the document. Meaning, so you're gonna be good for the.
Because remember, we don't have to pay for a year.
for one-
No,
But you
right.
mean besides that,
But
in general, how does it
I
work?
understand the cash flow, but like, we're making a purchase, we're purchasing it. Let's say we decide we're gonna purchase it tomorrow, we purchase it tomorrow, March 22nd.
Yeah.
Accounting wise, does that go on this budget? Or is it, or accounting wise, does it go by the payments of the cash flow?
It would go by the payments, because if you're not paying anything until March of 2025, then that's the budget it's gonna be in.
Okay, so it does really go by the cash flow.
When the actual checks start getting written.
Okay,
When you
I
pay the
mean,
ones.
I'm not agreeing, I'm not saying that's true, I'm agreeing with your question, I don't know what the answer is, but it sounds
Yeah.
like what happened.
Now, how long is this bid good for?
Well, and this was prepared, I don't know, I don't remember.
Eric's got it.
February 11th.
John Deere is pretty good about, honor it as long as they can honor it. Matter of fact.
Sorry, I forget. Why are we going with John Deere again? I know you've just got done explaining it.
Well, the first thing is, most towns have a lot of John Deeres in it.
Okay,
They treat municipalities very well. They're right down there in Williston. I think the whole thing is, that I said about town truck here a couple months ago, it's service. Yeah, you can get a nice piece of equipment, but having it fixed when you want it fixed.
Yeah.
That is key. They're right up in the forefront, no different than this bid coming up, and he would know that honor. He's honoring, we don't want to get into this one, the backhaul. They honor it as long as they can, and the price increases are not there, so.
so is Milton Cat the place that you took the old one to? You took it to and got it fixed, and Milton Cat is in Richmond,
Yes,
so you can drive it there?
we go with it.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering.
No.
So like, if you have to if we get this new one, you get it fixed, you could literally just drive it down there for service,
But
whereas.
They come, see, John Deere comes to us. We brought that down, because the first thing is that it was just down the road.
They charge you $900 to deliver from Richmond? Or did they bring it from
No,
somewhere
that
else?
was The lease.
Right,
John Deere, when the grader had to have the motor tuned up, they sent a tech up there, it was worked on in our shop. We don't
okay,
take it anymore.
Okay.
And I mean, they literally took the top of the motor off in our shop, and the guy spent 2 days and put it back together. So the thing is travel time and getting the service, because it was back on the road within 3 days. We graded the roads, we just took it off, then we worked on it, and they went back to grade roads again.
gotcha.
And it's no different, we talk about trucks, I know that, when Joe's on the board, he's talking about the different type of trucks. The thing is that you get a uniform of the current trucks you have, they're all pretty identical,
Mhm.
it is we have almost no inventory for trucks when you can just drive down the road 5 miles, or they deliver it
Mhm.
to our site. So you gotta look at it, yeah, you gotta pay it off in 7 years, but then again, you're also looking at service, and you're looking at the availability of getting things done fast, because we can't go too long without anything in this town.
You're right.
Okay,
People want the roads taken care of.
well, we used up this 15 minutes fast, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the loader.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
know.
talk about
Loader.
tobacco
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I don't even want to know what the backhoe costs.
Okay, well, of course,
That's-
well, I like to ask.
Bob, that's the
Right,
good
yeah.
news, isn't it?
So this is all I know about the history of the backhoe. It's a 2005, and it says broke. It's old. The replacement note says not worth replacing and not worth anything as far as trade.
Oh.
I talked to 4 different dealers for a backhoe. Case, John Deere, New Holland. What was the other one? We forgot that one. Anyway, they got prices on that. Caterpillar doesn't usually do much of a backhoe anymore. They're more into the excavator, bulldozer type stuff. But, one of the things to just give you some history was I also gave Paul a breakdown. What happened one day is Casey's heading back to the town garage, heading down the hill. And he went to step on the brake. And he went right by the town village. And it was nothing but the fact that the thing has been leaking a lot of oil, hydraulic leaks and all that. We knew that already. So we had to take on a flatbed down to CR Woods. They have a monopoly. They have 6 6 dealers throughout New England. And I did an appraisal of it because we wanted to know long-term, because it is leaking, environmentally not good.
Right, yes.
So they did an assessment on it and then fixed it. They found out it was a valve because your brakes are hydraulically run. And so they found the problem, they get that in. And then they came back with it and unloaded it, and Roger says, well, there's one thing the tech said. He came right out and he said, you need to watch it. You need to be careful. That's basically his quote. And the breakdown was what would it cost to take and fix it up? And so I believe you have that.
I've got I don't have anything, Paul didn't give me anything for
Okay, I
the
got it here.
To fix up the
Backhoe.
backhoe.
And this is only a quote because they actually, 2 things they said, we really don't want to do it because
Right.
it's time consuming. But at that time, 12/7/23, it was up to $20,325.66.
So when was that one due for replacement?
I should have brought my files myself.
Yeah, I don't.
No, there's nothing blank.
We didn't have anything?
No, there's no replacement date.
No,
Okay, so, the thing is, they told me not to really bring much up tonight about it, lawyers first thing, and we're gonna work, the backhoe,
and they don't want to do 23, but that's,
we took
that,
it down to Pratt Road the other day to, they had a plugged culvert. And then I was the truck driver and they came back, and what's happening is, everybody's familiar with the boom in the back that digs a hole.
Mhm.
But when you travel down the road, there's a thing called a lock. You put it up a certain position, you flip the switch, it locks on.
yeah,
Come to find out, what was happening is with the lock off and them doing their thing, is pumping hydraulic oil out the back. So, okay, they told me about it, so we brought it back, got it in the shop, steamed it off. We also had this diesel fuel leak in the front. I got that fixed. So I went down to Sierra Woods, and I took a picture of it, said, what is it gonna cost to get this valve? He looked at it and he said, we don't do much backhoe work because they don't make them anymore. But he says, we might be able to find it. So anyway, they found it that fits on another piece of equipment, but it's on backhoe.
So
And
we're 19 years into this.
Yeah.
2005, and it's falling apart.
And it was bought used. It was not bought.
So when did we buy it? Do you know?
To be honest, I don't know.
I mean, that's like that.
So are you looking for us to buy a new backhoe too?
I got prices on it as well,
Just,
Are they real cheap?
They're like, it's like
160.
$40. 160?
160, 170, 170, they're all in the ballpark.
oh, everything,
So 160,000 for both, right?
Right.
No, but
We-
one's
we
160,
give away
they're
the
both
loader.
basically
We
160.
give away the loader and we have 160 and 160.
So
We trade all over it.
yeah, I mean,
$301,000.
nothing's less than 150 anymore.
I know,
No, when it comes to equipment, no.
I know, I get it.
So I'm gonna leave it at that. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
What is- how-
As far as,
But the good news is the part on back order, $600, right?
it's $600.
All right,
So
there you
it's
go.
like throwing, we're throwing another piece of money into it.
Right.
And I don't know what the bill was, because I don't get the bill, Paula gets it. But when it came back, I didn't know what the bottom line of that figure was when we took it down the first time. They did the appraisal, but they also had to fix it.
Right.
That was a bunch of hoses leaking. There's still some hoses leaking on
Yeah, it was
it. Looks like spaghetti.
So I know you've talked a lot. One more question. So you talked about how frequently you use the loader. You said you use it every day. Well, how about the backhoe?
So backhoe, it's more used a lot in the winter time you got the beaver dams, there's one. Off Silly Hill, we got one on Nashville, just constant, we have. to go
Tyler
up there.
Place,
Where?
Tyler
Yeah, I'm
Place.
sorry, Tyler Place as well. And then when we get plug culverts, it's the fastest thing of getting it to the site and cleaning it out. As far as summertime, it's, some minor ditching and all that, so. It's not as, I'm gonna totally admit, it's not as used as much, But then when it gets down to it is, they said, well, what if the thing breaks down? Well, what will happen is we're gonna have to rent something.
Right.
And that's what it gets down to again. What's nice about the backhoe is that if we knew what we're getting into, yeah, we could use it. And bring it back within, they do it by the day, they do it by the week, they do it by the month. The unfortunate thing is when we have an emergency is when, if the backhoe is broke down. That's the only thing that could happen. And we seem to get a lot of water here now in Jericho and everywhere else in Chittenden County, so we don't really know. So the backhoe's been out quite a lot lately from the rain.
You're just out there just harassing beavers in their dams, huh? That's all you're doing with it?
Can't touch them.
Yeah.
You can make them mad, they're just gonna fill back in.
Yeah.
But
So it sounds like we have some decisions to make. We're not making any tonight, is that right? Or what? Or are we?
You can choose to make decisions tonight,
If we don't, I mean,
or you could.
again, this is
talk
like
about it.
new guy question, like if we don't make it tonight, what's different in 2 weeks?
We could,
And I'm not advocating to do it now, but just like genuinely what's gonna be different until like what is John or Bob gonna tell us in 2 weeks? They aren't telling us now, like.
So I think what we decided last time, or at least where I landed in my head last time, was we roll the dice and we just hang on to what we've got and we see how well we do. With this new information and with, I don't know,
Yeah, that's what it was.
I don't know. I just don't know. That's my problem. That's what in 2 weeks I might know. I don't know.
Well, in 2 weeks?
Here's the thing. Here's what I keep thinking of when we start thinking of these gigantic purchases. I don't know what the economy's going to do, what equipment prices are going to do, but I'd be willing to bet they're not going to go
I'm
down.
gonna say they're not gonna go
No,
down.
they're not gonna go
You
down.
know, so like if we wait 3 years, like, oh, we were so smart, we waited 3 years. Now a new one's twice as much, I don't know. Like,
Right.
is it going to go up 2%? Like,
Well, things have,
Inflation, or is it
I've
gonna
seen
go-
the truck prices certainly go up during my tenure.
yeah, so.
the thing is, the truck that you've been looking for.
Yeah.
Is out there now, it's a European motor, the Europeans are way ahead as far as environmental.
Yeah.
And so they're out, but the unfortunate thing, it's anywhere from $12,000 to $16,000 more to have that.
European engine, okay.
But you are getting a totally efficient truck. It's, and California standards you were talking about.
Exactly.
It's now gonna be federal standards, in 2025. It's gonna be federal all the way.
So you might as well do it.
All I had to do is wait a year, you'll be in it, so.
Well, if people are comfortable, I think, we don't want to jeopardize road crew members.
That's
with-
what I was thinking.
That's the part about the backhoe.
With the
that he
backhoe.
just went sailing by with his foot on the brake.
Yeah.
That feels like.
These are new young.
Right, I know. Right. I didn't want him.
18 years old.
I don't want him getting wrapped around a tree.
That boy.
So,
Yeah, so only old people drive
Drive
that.
backhoe now. He's gotta be at least 65.
Why didn't you drive? I'll tell them tomorrow.
so,
I think, I don't see how we can spend $320,000.
we can't.
That's why I was told, all of it, just to brief you.
guidance, wasn't told.
Okay, we're really watching what's going on as far as the leak, and right now. We are okay, I mean, we still worry about the leak, and whatever we're doing at the site, we're gonna do it real fast, because that valve is gonna leak. So I'm just giving you a heads up,
That's the valve you got on order.
excuse me.
Yeah, is
I
that,
haven't ordered it yet
Yeah.
because I didn't want to keep throwing money into it. And I would be better if I could talk to Paula and find out really what was put in it when it was down there last time. And then what could be put back in it this time. So I would not worry about the backhoe until I give you more. And there's already the lease stuff on the backhoe is already the same as what you're getting. It's all the same program.
so anyway, if people are concerned about the safety, you need to get the loader. I mean, that's the only.
The loader doesn't have a safety concern.
Well,
Loader,
except
loader has
but the way
a,
The
loader,
backhoe has a safety concern.
backhoe has a safety.
but on the other hand, the loader is what gets used more.
And the loader has made probably both of them, but at least, the loader has been abused
Yeah,
and the transmission,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, I think we're gonna eat that transmission.
Oh, I think you are.
If the,
It would be all right if we were just sitting in a pit, but we
Right.
take that thing all over Jericho.
you know,
and
and
if
yeah,
only it has 3,000 hours on it and the gears look like that,
Now, that's supposed to be.
I guess why aren't you more concerned about the backhoe than you are about the loader?
What Catherine's saying, it's the usage.
it's not used.
I get that.
I'll give you an example, like I said, in summertime, like I said, it's usually sitting, it's just. sitting-
So let's say the backhoe died and we're like, we have no budget this year to do it or whatever.
I did-
You could just, you
I'd
you
rent
either
it.
Band-Aid or
You
you
could live
rent
without
it.
the backup.
you could do it on a daily basis.
We got enough vendors that we rent from, like that line item where we rent stuff, we rented a jackhammer last summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Some stuff.
Yeah.
I would do that and not sit there and say, hey, guess what, people, need $300,000 for 2 pieces of equipment tonight. That's not.
We forgot to tell you that when we asked you to buy them,
No.
buy us them.
I was supposed to brief you, but that was.
Yeah,
all right.
I also knew, from, being around, is that backhoes are a lot easier to rent.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yes.
that
They're
makes
all
total
over the
sense.
place.
I was just starting to get lost in the whole.
But loaders
Right,
are
'cause
not so
19
easy,
19 years old and brakes not working feels scarier,
but
but the missing piece is that it's not a.
It's not used as
have-to-have
much
item.
and he knows we're
Right.
only letting old
We can-
people in it now.
And we can scramble if we need to get one. We
Yeah,
can-
that makes sense.
yeah.
I feel bad for the second oldest person on the crew after
Right.
Roger retires.
Yeah.
Might want to prompt him.
Johnny and Casey.
Yeah.
So,
so. it's-
I think I've changed my mind from last time I was like, no, we just can't. But the thing is, here's where I'm getting to in my mind.
Before you talk, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
What do you feel is the right move with the loader?
I believe we should get rid of that loader.
You think we should get the $100,000 for it and get into a new one?
Just seeing the history of loaders in my time.
Okay, that's one, I will,
It's just, when I saw that, and I said, that's why I need to take a picture so you can look at it.
Can I see that
I don't
picture
really
just
get
out of
what we're-
curiosity?
Yeah, send
I'm
both of those
terrible at-
back.
I'm
Those-
terrible at looking
Those
at
both
those.
belong to over there.
Thank you.
That goes over
I'm
there.
sorry to cut you off, Rick. I wanted to.
No, that's okay.
Bob's.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just gonna say, financially,
Oh, yeah.
it started, even though I'm just so nervous about spending that kind of money just after the bond vote. First meeting after town meeting, all that stuff. We had such a long talk about the budget. But ignoring all that, I think financially it might make more sense to just do it because it's worth, right? Like that trade-in value is gonna start going like this. The new value, the value of the new one is probably gonna go like that. So like the longer we wait. So,
You're gonna have lots of this.
yeah.
And just to add on to that, is the abuse that it's seeing, is what worries me.
And we're gonna make
not
sure
get
we're-
5 years out of it.
Someone's gonna like make a little sign, like right on the
Right.
steering wheel that says for people like,
Yeah. I am very impressed. That's the reason why I opted to take the jogs. At first I knew the guys and they're all very user-friendly equipment. And I said they're treating it like their own. you
Yeah.
know, Trucks or whatever, they're clean. If there's something wrong with it, we deal with it. We don't band-aid it, we deal with it.
So,
what do you think, Catherine? I like how you always like let us make the motions, like it's like someday, like.
I've wondered, why doesn't Kathy ever like?
I don't know.
Make motions?
Just
No,
died on it.
as a
Just
chair, I
letting
never
you
make.
well, Eric.
As a chair, I usually don't make.
All these crazy.
She's transitioning.
I know.
motions.
I'll make a motion to go forward with the loader purchase as presented. With a caveat of, we'll work with Brian to figure out the smartest way to do it. I don't want the terms to be included in this motion. Typically, that's how we've done it. We'll just say yes to the thing and then
Right.
let Brian and Amy figure out the magic with the
Yeah,
numbers.
I'll confer with Brian. And
And Tim did say he would, I talked to Brian today, that we were at the
Oh, yeah.
open house.
Yeah.
That would be Tim and Brian and you people.
Yeah.
to figure out how you proceed,
And
how you want to do it.
I would also be interested in doing research and see, heavy equipment market wise, what the annual increases have looked like. So what can we expect a couple of years from now on a purchase price of a backhoe?
So I would second that, and as expressed, and I would just ask John or Bob or whoever ended up talking to Brian to say that we defer to Brian in his wisdom, but that we would like to be spreading this over 7 years, unless there's some reason that doesn't make sense, we want to try to spread this across multiple generations or multiple years of taxes.
Yeah. I almost don't even like the delaying it a year. I'd almost rather start now instead of, I don't know.
He just thought, because I told him, the reason why that we were not getting answers, but the bond bill was a
We
big.
just passed it, right?
I mean, with the truck or anything, that was like, push everything off to the side.
Absolutely.
Okay, before we put all this nice equipment, because I'm another preacher of, we got a lot of new equipment sitting outdoors as we speak.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
before we add any more new equipment, let's make sure the buildings and put that equipment in the building.
Yeah, because
And
it's
they're
like,
still gonna give us that 10,000 or whatever, the lease, you think? Even though we sent it back?
No, because see.
That's
if
different.
The problem is that is another that was a loader, a smaller loader. So that
Oh.
doesn't go towards.
So that's a different thing from last time.
Yeah, this is what happened. So the first time it came up was we had a proposal. And if we had ordered, if you guys had signed the lease back on that document, you would have got a loader. And you wouldn't have to pay that loader for the second month until the new loader showed up.
Oh, Amy had said that.
He said it would go towards the-
Paula had said that
Yeah.
that whether it was $5,000 or $10,000, that if we bought a loader, that would those lease
No,
payments would
credit
come off
me
the.
on the second month of the loader. And that date, because at the time, Paula thought there could be something to be signed off, but felt that you people need to look at it. So you will have to wait till this board meeting to do it. So the second month is come and gone.
Is over now.
It's
Yeah.
over.
So
yeah, it
that,
had to be done during that month. And we didn't have time
no, but
because I had
Paula
talked to
definitely
Paula.
said,
Yeah.
she said,
She might have misunderstood.
Right,
what-
yeah,
what
yeah,
his-
yeah.
But
I have another question. Do you have to commit to financing through the company?
No.
Can you finance through
No,
a
no,
bank?
Brian will figure out the right way to
Well,
do
that's
it.
what I'm saying, like.
Brian will-
Brian would be the one to.
yeah, typically, most of our stuff has come from either Kansas State Bank or one of the
Right.
one of the other.
That's what.
so Brian will be the one to lock down the.
Or it might come to, doesn't it come to us sometimes? Like we have to pick, like we'll get a
Right.
thing.
Yeah,
three
we'll
different
get a
ones.
bunch of
Exactly.
quotes from
Yeah.
that.
Brian did tell me at that open house that you originally started renting the water, leasing the water, then all of a sudden you just thought it out outright. Right? Is that what happened to the grader that you started paying for it? If you need a grader.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
You had a grader and then you started paying on a lease, but then all of a sudden. it ended up
Lease
being
to own.
purchased outright.
Right, exactly.
So, but that's something that can be all flexed up. No, it does not have to be financed in John Deere.
But you're right, we don't want to have, the nice, because that grader isn't that old. The excavator's not that old because that was just a couple years ago that broke from.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have motion and second.
all those in favor say aye.
I
It hurts,
It does hurt.
but
Sorry.
I think it's the right, I mean,
it is the right
like
thing
for
to
the
do.
record, I think this is the financially smart decision.
right.
Like just excluding all the other talk, I think this is financially the
Doesn't
smart
feel-
decision.
It hurts to spend the money
It
because,
doesn't hurt me. I feel like we made a good, I feel like it's a good decision and we have to have the equipment that hasn't been abused and that can be used and relied on for the next 15 years.
it's just unfortunate that it comes so close on the heels of,
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
really, really tight budget for
Yeah.
2025.
Yep.
That's the hard part. Thank you for
I won't
your.
give any more bad.
Yeah.
Every
Bob,
other
we'll have
piece
to
of
come back
equipment.
to talk about the truck.
At least,
Can you change the oil and everything tomorrow? Just everything.
but at least we can rent backhoes. I mean,
That's true. That's
Which-
true.
push comes to shove, we can rent backhoes.
If you create some in the town, then I'll.
Well, how come everybody isn't out there right now? Because both the Mega Millions and the
Is that
the
right?
Powerball
Mega
are
Millions, like-
really, really high.
Yeah, Megan's like up to like 966 or
And
something.
so a Powerball is at 750.
Oh, gosh.
There you go.
So, you
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for anything.
that's right.
Bill,
for your time, Bob.
Convenience store.
Have a good night.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Bob.
Bob, thank you.
Next is, any other updates for the select board?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
I think mine's fairly quick. After it was posted on Front Porch Forum about what did we call it? The town meeting reimagined committee. I got 7 names that trickled in over time. And I think that's a good number, and these are good people that would be very effective to serve on the committee with just limited input from, the select board is needed, that they, can run with it. And it's Sam Gralty, Catherine Paris, Beth Esmond, Jennifer Nauer, Tom Jocelyn, Gay Symington, and Elizabeth Bernstein.
Wow, what an eclectic
That's a good
crew.
loose. That's a good
Yeah.
crew.
It's a good group.
We need a motion on that or just they're
I'm just gonna let them know.
deputized and go?
Because it's a task force, which means it doesn't need to be formally
Yep,
appointed.
Great.
They can just go for it and figure out what's going on. And at least start the process and how how you want to structure the committee. And different things, because, that's the first step you got to do is how you're going to structure it and who's going to be
In charge.
in charge and stuff like that. The other thing is the Jericho Energy Task Force is going to present a local resident, Connor Lehev. And he is, he's been in Jericho for 20+ years. He's worked for I believe it's 25 years for the National Weather Service. And he's going to present an open question and answer presentation on weather and climate. And there's some questions that are already out there that he is first going to answer. And that's at the Deborah Rawson Memorial Library, March 28th at 7 p.m. And by the way, he's also a photographer. He does some dark sky photography, but his work is currently showing at the Groupie Gallery.
I know.
And the reception is Sunday
Oh, cool.
for the artist.
Okay. We should probably go
Are you guys gonna be in Lake Maury or is that one day only?
one day.
One day.
Oh, great.
Updates from me is that in the last 2 weeks, I have reached out to each of the chairs of the committees and I have sat in with the Affordable Housing Committee, the Jericho Energy Task Force,
Yeah, I know that was a
And,
very tiny meeting.
and
Wasn't there?
and the Planning Commission, and I am scheduled with the DEI for like April 1st, I think, their next meeting, and the New Trails Committee, Bike Ped, that group Cody Phillips, is that his name?
Cody's
Cody's
he's the new chair, yeah.
I think that, and I don't think I've heard back from Mob's Farm, but I reached out to their chair.
Pete Davis.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't reach out to them.
Pete's the chair. I
Of
believe he's
Mob's,
still the current chair.
So yeah, so I've just been going to them and they've been super appreciative and it's been, and when I tell them, I'm just trying to get my head around the whole system as fast as I possibly can to be effective. And I don't know when was the snow day thing. I came to town hall during we had a snow day, a Monday after our last meeting, I guess. And I came here and spent 2 or 3 hours just talking to people and walking around, just meeting with each person individually. And just John wasn't here that day, but I think I met everybody, talking to everybody else, which was great and felt productive, and they seemed to appreciate being talked to and, so talk with, not to.
Cool. I have a couple updates. I am the president, I guess, of the JCDC.
Chair.
I think it's president.
I think it
Board
I think it is
chair.
because it's a
But
501c.
Right, it's
Yeah, I
think
think
probably
the way
right.
it's listed is, but anyway,
But
whatever.
anyway, you're head of the
I'm the head.
CEO.
Grand Poobah.
We are officially down 2 members. So we're going to ask for volunteers for 2 members. We are also on a little bit of a hiatus. We are not going to meet in March. We're not going to meet in April. In May, I would like to have a meeting, and I would love to have candidates to review that want to join the JCDC.
Who's still on it? Who?
Me, Bob Mulcahy, and Susan Harrod. Additionally, I am going to meet, it finally dawned on me that, well, it dawned on me before, but we really need to get some sort of scope of understanding of what it would take to update the house at 2 Railroad Circle. So what that would look like. And so what I imagine is some sort of quote from somebody that would then, I don't quite understand the process from there. Like if we would have to put it out to bid and see what people would bid to do it. But I reached out to a friend who has a company that does, I believe what they do is like insurance damage. So they'll go like refurbish, you have a flood, like that type of flood, a fire. I forget what the name of that work is.
Insurance adjuster?
I mean, kind of, but they do the work.
Come on.
They-
The actual,
no, they do the actual work.
contractor who does the.
Yeah, but so they'll work really closely with the insurance people, whatever. So I'm going to meet that person a week from tomorrow. So I will need the key to that house.
Did you say tomorrow?
A week from
A
tomorrow.
week from tomorrow. Perfect.
And gosh, I thought I had one more thing. I guess that's it.
Great. Try to keep it fairly quick. We alluded to eclipse planning, which remains a mystery in terms of expected impact here in Jericho and Underhill. I think the only specific thing that I understand is that Brad Holden and the town of Underhill are going to have the access roads to the trails on Mount Mansfield closed on that day and barricaded with signs allowing only residents to get up them. And they're going to have a sheriff from, I think it's Sheriff Bryan, actually. The older Sheriff Bryan is going to be on site, just kind of toggling between those 2 roads to make sure that people don't go up there in an unauthorized fashion. Yeah, it's really, you know, aside from programming that may be happening at the library and that sort of thing, it's really hard to understand how much random traffic impact we're going to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the key. Because, you know, yeah, I guess I understand the issues, you know, there aren't that many gas stations that people have bathrooms and water and things like that, but, you know, we certainly don't have a parking lot that people could really use for anything either. I mean, there
Yeah.
isn't much, I mean, I know Matt's concern is always what it, you know, as everybody said, is what's going to happen alongside the roads. Are people just going to stop and look
Right.
and block the road? But
And or people who get stuck in the backcountry. So I think
that's the real
that's a
worry for
really,
everybody, the
that's a
backcountry,
really intentional and strategic way to avoid that.
you know, because given this, you know, snow now and, you know, who knows what in 2 weeks, but the trails will be a real mush.
Oh, yeah.
People shouldn't be up on
Or
those.
there could be 4 feet of snow. You
Yeah.
have no, it seems like winter has come back. So we have been in communication with Catherine and the JTL board regarding the upcoming energy audit inspection through the MERP program. That was actually, speaking of the eclipse, the company that's doing the audit was planning on being there on April 8th.
He really shouldn't be anywhere.
Which has now been moved to April 15th. So I will indeed, actually, I will not, I'm actually coming back on April 15th.
Tax day, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my taxes off the table before I take
Oh,
off.
I got to.
Looking to our next meeting, or I'm sorry, looking at the second meeting in April, we will need updates and confirmation to our local emergency management plan. I've been working with Matt to have those discussions, see if there are any personnel changes or things that need to be moved around. Paula has been in touch with a couple of sign companies, most responsive of which has been East Coast. They're putting together a couple different proposals for doing electronic sign maintenance and installs. So one would be just kind of to be on retainer on call. So there'd be sort of a monthly or annual fee that we would pay. And then in addition, we would pay for service calls as needed. The other would be just to, do work as contracted. So we're waiting to see those. Amy was happy to report there was only between $55,000 and $60,000 in overdue tax payments, which again, I'm learning a lot in the last 2 years, but apparently that's far lower than historical averages, which is a good sign. A quick update on the Chittenden County Communication Union District contract discussions. So I think I reported out to this group that we have been in negotiation with Consolidated regarding and they being the install contractor for fiber for our communication union district. We realized in their proposal that Jericho and Underhill's service was predicated on the receipt of additional funding. So there'd be a first phase and a second phase. And obviously begs the question for our two municipalities, what's in it for us if we can't guarantee service? So we're waiting to get a response. The other question that came up is to what degree the communication union district is obligated to provide those services to all the members. Like from a legal standpoint, do we have the ability to sign a contract with the intention to keep the service to two of the communities within the union district to be determined. So we have a meeting next Wednesday with the advising attorney who's going to share his opinion and suggest guidance and a way forward. And last but not least, I spoke with Jackson Evans from the Preservation Trust of Vermont. Jackson has been engaged in conversation with the board of the Jericho Historical Society regarding the Old Red Mill. They are working with a timber framer and restorationist named Elliot Lothrop from Huntington. Elliot has done the restorations on the Monitor Barn where BYCC is, has the current restoration going on their other barn. And I spoke with, so it was the first time I had the opportunity to speak with Jackson, kind of brought him up to speed on where we are with the USDA grant and the work required to re-engage that grant funding. We decided, with your blessing, of course, and Catherine, with you kind of taking the lead as select board liaison, we want to bring everyone together to talk mutually about current conditions of the project, what they have found structurally having nothing to do with the foundation, but with the rest of the building, and what will be required maintenance wise moving forward. And we're going to try to schedule that for early May.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Because who knows what happens after November, whether that grant will still be there.
Yeah, I know. And so, yeah, there's definitely a sense of wanting to redouble traction and movement on the project with that potential funding up in the air. And last but not least, we have a template for an RFP to go out to bid for a project manager for oversight of the RFP process for design and permitting for the Newtown Maintenance Facility project. So we will get that RFP written. We will put it in front of you for approval before we post it.
Well, that reminds me, Money, ouch. Since we have the audit, and
Yeah.
we need to schedule, someone from the company to come and talk to us so that we can approve or actually accept the audit.
I talked to Brian about that. He was wanting to, that's on his radar. He's intending on having Fred or one of his associates.
I like Fred.
Yeah, Fred.
I'd like Fred to come.
Spread Fred. Yeah, the intent would be to have Fred or one of his associates do a report out to the select board on this, the audit report. Brian was thinking probably second meeting in April.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Goes along with taxes.
'Tis the season.
Okay. So, what we do is we need to sign the warrants and approve minutes.
Yeah, I sat down to read my packet after work before I came to the select board. I forgot about having to read the entire town meeting.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot to read.
Now, most of the stuff was just one, there was just a couple words. But the primary change that needs to happen is I don't think there's two people with similar sounding last names with the first name of Sam,
Oh, let me see.
because it says Sam Brawley, but based on my,
Where are you?
that would be on line 13, 17, 283, 327. But
Sam? I don't see the word.
it's Sam Brawley. It's B-R-A-U-T.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking at town meeting.
Yes, town meeting.
I'm sorry. I was looking at
And-
the last meeting.
because he was at the select board meeting.
Yes, but but it's Garulty. It can't be two, it can't be the two, it can't be.
Right. It's the same person. Spelling is actually Graulty.
Right, that's what I have.
What line number, Kathy?
13, they have Braulty.
13. Yes, they do.
And it's also on line 17, they spelled Kathy Paris with a K, it's with a C. She's a
Okay.
Catherine. I know that.
There we go.
But that way. And then, it's also, I think his name is also on line 283.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Make sure that, because I have 283 highlighted, but most of it was his name. Yes, Mr. Brawlty. Only it's Mr.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then the last one would be 327. And again, it's
Yeah.
Mr. Brawlty. So,
Nothing if not consistent.
so, but it's with the G
Yep.
and the V, but that's what I had on the town meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the town meeting minutes as amended.
I can make a motion even though I wasn't at town meeting on the board. I mean, I can second,
Yeah, because you were a town.
because I wasn't
Yeah.
a select board member.
That's right. So I'll
But-
second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And
But you're still welcome. If you found changes that you don't agree with, I'd welcome to hear them.
If I'm being honest, I actually forgot about looking at that part of the packet.
Okay,
okay.
yeah, I think that was wise.
I also have,
I'm like sitting on my couch, like reading this before, I'm gonna fall asleep before the select board meeting starts.
I have a signature page for the town meeting minutes so they can be entered into the record. So I
That's
can
true.
Pass that to you, Eric. and Catherine
Oh, so we actually have to sign them. So,
do.
Yes, you do.
And then
so
I
it's
guess
okay to sign them even though we know we're gonna change it?
Well,
that's, yeah, I think that's my understanding.
Okay.
we just have to let them know, or at least what the
Yeah, you're on
change
the
is.
record having made the
Yeah,
indicated the needed
Yep.
changes. This will be a
Yeah.
post-edit certification.
and then the minutes of March 7th.
Okay.
One thing. Oh, yeah, he can sign, I think. 'Cause he-
Oh, no, I probably shouldn't sign.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what,
I don't know
I
either.
don't know why
I'm
not.
not sure what, I'm not sure what signing indicates.
That we're certifying the minutes.
That you're
yeah.
certifying the minutes.
Yeah, so Peter, you should probably sign and
I
we
should
can,
sign?
yeah, and we can replace Joe's name.
I already just crossed it.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Now,
I
on
was
the,
hoping he wouldn't notice.
Sorry, Joe.
I didn't want him to feel bad.
I have a question. Well, I'm going to start with line 75 on the other minutes. And this one has to do on line 75, it says, you're the one talking about it.
I said Jericho. I did not say Underhill.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I had that one too.
I went, oh, okay. I wanted to make sure because I didn't think it was correct, but because you had said it, I wanted to check with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible I misstated it, but I think the record should show the
Yeah.
intent Jericho, not Underhill.
All right.
Certainly was my intent to say Jericho.
And then I have on page 390, I mean, it's line 396. That, it's it was the motions, we were approving the minutes of February 15th and February 26th. And it says the motion was passed 3-0. It couldn't be because it has to be 2-0 because
Oh, Peter didn't. Yeah.
Peter wasn't here.
Oh, that's good. Yep. I
So
had one more edit. It's a minor edit and it may be the way that I said it might be accurately captured, but on line 350. It's minor, but line 350, it said an action list or calendar showing what will happen at the intersection of River Road. I think it would just make it more readable if that said River Road and Route 15.
Okay,
I think I probably said that, but it's very possible that I didn't. But I think that would.
that's clear. It is
Yeah.
clarification.
And so with that, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 7th. With as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I'm
with
sorry,
that-
dear, you're gonna have to go leave.
I know, I knew that's probably.
That's my driver,
Kick to the curb again, Bill.
my driver. Person. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And with that, I will make a motion to enter into executive session because premature disclosure of the information will be detrimental to parties involved for reasons of personnel and legal. And we'll invite John Abbott to the first part of this.
Yep.
And, you know, if you don't agree,
Yeah.
or you could second it.
Oh, I'm sorry, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Thank you.